Alright, I'm Adam,
I'm Stephanie.
and we're here from the Eclectic Gamer to play some Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, which is sort of a board game.
It's like a book game?
It's a book game, it's like a
Paper game?
group deduction, choose your own adventure.
No, except not. I mean, you're sort of.
You're choosing where you're going and discovering
That's
stuff.
true. But there is only one correct answer.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll kind of explain how it works. The game comes with a bunch of these case books that, in the very beginning, it tells you sort of outlines a story, and you are working with Sherlock Holmes to solve a mystery. It gives you a bunch of information, people, places, events, and it's just a mystery. You don't even know what you're supposed to really find out. And then between the newspapers that it gives you for the day, the map of London, which we have here, the London directory that tells you the locations of people and things, and then we have a list of allies, people we can talk to, newspaper reporters, informants, police officers. We have to figure out what the mystery was, and so then the case book also has every location on the map, not every location, but every relevant location on the map, and so we'll go, oh, we should probably talk to that person they mentioned, and we'll look them up in the directory and then go to that and talk to them. And the idea is to try to figure out exactly what happened. And so once we think we have all the information, in the back of the book there is a number of questions that we are supposed to answer. We don't know what those questions are at the beginning. That's the one thing that's a little weird about this game to me, is that it makes sense that you don't know what you're trying to find out because stuff's supposed to come out in the middle of it, but you never know when you're done, so you don't know when you're supposed to.
Yeah, so what we've been doing is we've been kind of going through as much as we feel like we should. Then we look at the questions. Well, we've only done 2 other cases. This is what we've done on the other 2. Then we look at the questions, and then we find out about all the things that we do not yet know that we are supposed to know, and then we go back.
Yeah. So if you are interested in this game, you can read through you can listen to the first part, but this spoiler feels like it's not strong enough word to cover what's going to happen here.
Yeah, like you basically, if you watch us play the whole case through and get to the ending solution, you basically won't be able to play the case yourself.
Right, because the idea is to try to figure out what happens, and so, I mean, if you want to figure out see what the game's like, you can do this, but you're kind of ruining case 3.
Can you take that away from her?
Yeah, our cat is playing with something. No, cat, no. Keep talking, Steph. No.
I don't know what we were talking about. Should I just get started?
We're talking about spoilers.
You'll find out the solution, which is the whole point of the game. So
yeah, you basically, there's 10 cases in the box, right?
Yes.
So you'll basically ruin this case for yourself. Just so we don't want spoilers. We don't want anyone to get mad. So if not for the faint of heart, we'll start off.
All right. So we're playing case 3, the mystified murderess. So to recap how we've done on the previous cases, we did all right in case 1. So the idea is that you're supposed to solve the murder or the mystery in as few leads as possible, and then you compare it to how Sherlock Holmes did, who does do it in as few leads as possible.
It's usually like 5.
Yeah, so it's like 4, 5, somewhere around there. We always end up we took like 30 on the first one, and on the second one we literally had to read every single clue in order to solve the entire mystery.
We were super dumb.
We were pretty bad. So let's see if we can do better, because we can only do very little worse, which is not be able to figure it out at all, having read the whole thing.
There's one interesting thing we should mention that we've found here. There's in terms of the questions you have to answer, there's 2 sets of questions. So there's the primary questions of the case, and then the secondary questions. And I think it was usually 4 and 4, right?
I don't
remember. But usually, if you are like Sherlock and figure it out in 4 cases, or in 4 leads, you can't figure out all the secondary stuff. Mm-hmm. And so to really get through it
makes it more interesting, I think.
Yeah, so I would almost recommend that you don't try to just solve the first questions in 4 things, and you go look at more, even though you're not going to win or get the highest score or whatever,
All right, so with that said, I will start reading what the case is. Case 3, the mystified murderess, 4th of July, 1888. At 221B Baker Street, we find Holmes just as Dr. Watson's note had described him, listless, unresponsive, and oblivious to all around him. He has not resorted to the needle yet, whispers Watson. My plan may keep him from it, indicating the newspaper clippings in his hand. A tightrope walker at the Royal Italian Circus fell to his death. Foul place suspected. What do you think, Holmes? No answer. Society burglar strikes again. A series of burglars. 6 such over a period June 2nd to June 17th. On July 2nd, the 7th occurred at the home of Sir Sanford Leeks. Cleopatra tiara stolen. As in the others, no sign of extensive search by the thief and only one piece of jewelry involved. Victims elsewhere at the time. Here's a complete list of the particulars, Holmes, if you'd care to read it. Silence. Oh, here's a puzzle. A hansom picked up a fare at its regular stand. The passenger spoke up when he realized they were headed in the wrong direction, but got no answer. Oh my, the cabbie was dead, still sitting upright in his seat, a knife in his back. A policeman managed to halt the vehicle. Around the cabbie's neck was a pouch containing 30 Roman coins, denarii. The stupid fools! Exclaims Holmes. If they had allowed the horse to proceed, it would have led them to the scene of the crime. Let me see that, Watson. Watson hands him the clippings and casts a self-satisfied smile in our direction. As Holmes, whose enthusiasm restored, occupies himself with the clippings, the doorbell rings. I beg you for your help, Mr. Holmes, entreats a tall, bespectacled young man, identifying himself as Gerald Locke. 3 days ago, Guy Clarendon was found murdered at Holidays. It's preposterous, but Miss Frances Nolan has been charged and is being detained at the criminal court, Old Bailey. I was just about to bring the matter to your attention, Holmes, said Watson, waving another clipping. I cannot believe she is capable of murder, even of such a scoundrel as Guy Clarendon. Scoundrel? Asked Watson. I've only heard good things about the younger Clarendon. Scion of a wealthy family, an accomplished batsman for the West London Cricketers, a ranked fencer in international competition. He was a bounder, very fond of cards and strong drink, and he associated with some rather low East End types. His father had all but disinherited him. I tried to tell Frances that he was only after her money, but to no avail. Frances and Loretta Nolan, says Holmes, suddenly stirring to life, the surviving heirs of Sir Malcolm Nolan, founder of the Aberdeen Navigation Company. Sir Malcolm and Lady Nolan were killed when a vowed anarchist, one Zagreb Jablinski, threw a bomb into their carriage, mistakenly thinking that it carried the Duke of York. Loretta Nolan, aged 4 or 5 at the time, was also in the carriage. Miraculously, she was uninjured. Yes, the gory details of the assassination, as well as those of the disposition of a considerable estate, were well documented in the tabloids. Mr. Locke, you are the suitor for Miss Nolan's hand, are you not? Yes, he admits. Why was Miss Nolan charged with the murder? Ah, well, Locke hesitates. He seems very uncomfortable and removes his spectacles, wiping them as a cover for his distress. Finally, in a low, resigned voice, he answers, She was discovered over the body with a pistol in her hand. Holmes nods, takes up a clipping of the cabbie's death again, and turns deaf ear to Locke's renewed protestations of Miss Nolan's innocence. I'm sorry, Mr. Locke, he says finally, cutting him off, but I cannot personally take your case. Another pressing matter has come to my attention. He retrieves his hat, adding, You can rest assured, however, that I could not leave you in better hands, and then he is gone. Ah, well, Mr. Locke, sputters Dr. Watson, you must excuse, that is, as Holmes suggested, we will spare no pains to get at the truth. You have nothing to worry about. I am sure I don't, says Locke, sounding rather unconvinced. Okay, let's recap what we know.
Okay. So that's like the intro, right? And so we're going to have... There's a bunch of information in there we're going to write down here just to keep track of. Should we write down all the other cases?
Yeah.
This game is sneaky, so it's possible that all the other information, like the other cases that Watson was listing off, are relevant.
So we have the Royal Italian Circus tightrope walker death.
So while Stephanie's doing that, I'm going to look over
Society burglar.
The London Times here for today. just to see if there's anything that seems relevant here.
Which just stole the Cleopatra tiara from Sir Sanford Leeds.
All right.
2 days ago.
Today in the game is Wednesday, July 4th, 1888.
And this was July 2nd.
It's 4th of July, not that England cares about that.
Not that it matters at all. It was the 7th robbery. There was the dead hansom, for which only the horse knows the scene of the crime, I guess.
Yeah.
With a pouch containing 30 Roman coins.
That seems super odd.
Agreed. That's the one that Holmes freaked out about as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now we get to our actual case, in which we have Gerald Locke, who is the fiance of the suspect.
Yep.
That's in custody. The victim is Guy Clarendon. Said it happened 3 days ago, so that must have been the first.
Sunday the 1st.
It was found at Halliday's. I'm not really sure what that is yet. So Frances Nolan is the main suspect. She's being held at the Criminal Court, Old Bailey.
Does it say anything more specific about the Roman coins?
It said that it was around the cavity's neck was a pouch containing 30 Roman coins, denarii.
Okay. Just while I'm seeing it, I want to mention this. In the personal section, it says JM to all concerned, and he cast down the pieces of silver and went and hanged himself. Matthew 7:5. Wasn't that like the Judas 30 pieces of silver? Romans around the right time.
Could be.
Seems like it could be connected. Anyway.
Could be.
Carry on.
Okay. Guy Clarendon is, let's see, we know that he's wealthy, that he is batsman for the West London Cricketers.
This is the victim?
Yes. He's a fencer.
Multi-sport athlete.
Indeed. He likes to gamble. He likes to drink. And he's associated with low East End types. So, Frances Nolan, the suspect, is the surviving heir of Sir Malcolm Nolan, who's the founder of the Aberdeen Navigation Company. Loretta Nolan, I assume, is her sister? Who was in the carriage at the time of the attack. And Zagreb Jablinski was the anarchist who conducted the attack. Okay. This woman was discovered over the body with a pistol in her hand. And that is, I think, all we're getting out of this.
Okay. So we're is Bailey someone relevant to this? I'm getting all my names mixed up.
She's being held at criminal court, Old Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Not a person, a location.
Okay, so there's some Baileys in here that are talking to me. I knew I'd heard the word, so I don't think this is actually relevant, but it's kind of funny. There's an ad in here for Chubb Locks, protect your family and treasures from the society burglar, and others of that ilk with our famous Chubb Locks. Workmanship guaranteed, available everywhere.
It's the Chubb Locker, the Chubb Lock owner that's committing all the robberies, isn't it?
Yeah. Cricket equipment thing. Society burglar still at large. After a month of jewelry burglaries from some of London's most fashionable homes, Scotland Yard reports little progress in the identification and apprehension of the so-called society burglar. The victim of the latest theft, the Lady Leeds, has come to be overwrought with the invasion of her bedroom by this unknown man and the loss of her prized diamond tiara. That she's been hospitalized, and a surgeon of her physical. Although any impetus to attack the increasing problem of crime should be welcomed, it's unfortunate that the impetus comes more strongly when the class of victims is expanded. Do you want to read those while I read these, or should I keep reading through all of these while we decide to go on to the next area?
Well, we should probably check out the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
Can you give me the directory?
Yep. So a couple of interesting things about this scene of the crime. Apparently, we should always go first, just like in all the criminal procedures.
Yeah, we didn't do that in our first case, and it was kind of a horrible, terrible mistake.
Well, we found a bunch of interesting things about it, but the previous newspapers from the previous cases can also have relevant things in them, so it's a little interesting.
All right, 15 SW. Let me find
15 this way. 15.
Holidays Hotel. Scene of the crime. And that is 15 SW. We leave the manager's office at Halliday's private hotel, knowing little more than we did when we entered. He is too upset over the police quarantine of Clarendon's room to be of much help. Fortunately, the day clerk is a much less excitable fellow. The gentleman registered under the name of Clarence Ski on the 29th of May. He was given a front room on the 3rd floor. 2 days later, he asked to be moved to Suite 205. During his stay, he had only 2 visitors that I'm aware of. One was a most disagreeable chap. He was very large, had a thick walrus mustache, and a prominent scar down his cheek. He arrived on the 1st of June, the very day of Mr. Guy, that is, Mr. Clarendon's move. He simply came in, sat down in the lobby, and waited. I kept an eye on him, but I must admit I was reluctant to ask him his business. 20 minutes or so later, Mr. Clarendon came down from his room. As he passed, the big man yanked him aside. I'm sure I detected fear in Mr. Clarendon's face and was about to send one of the boys for a bobby when Mr. Clarendon signed me that all was well. After a few minutes of conversation, they left together. I never saw the man again. The other visitor, who came by quite frequently, was a very striking woman. She was quite fashionably dressed, and she had a most distinctive laugh, very full and deep. I have no idea who she was. Tell us about the morning of July 2nd. It was about 9 o'clock when a woman entered. She was rather plain-looking, and I would not have noticed her but for the fact that she came in the front door, looking neither left nor right, and proceeded directly to the staircase. Normally, non-residents are not allowed to pass without first stopping at the desk. I was on my way to intercept the woman when I was buttonholed by Mr. Ramsay. He's a guest of long residence and a chronic complainer, and he would not let me go. It couldn't have been 30 seconds later when there was a woman's scream. I dashed up the stairs to the 2nd floor where the hallway was full of inquisitive guests. They directed my attention to room 205 and said they heard a faint bang before the scream. There I found the body of Mr. Clarendon and the aforementioned woman. She was lying in a swoon in the center of the room with a pistol in her hand. I revived her with some whiskey found in the room. When she came to, she was totally disoriented. She had no idea where she was or what she had done. When she saw Clarendon's body, she gave out a small cry and let go of her pistol as if it were red hot. I took her to a nearby vacant room and had the police summoned. At our request, the clerk calls the sleepy bellboy to show us the suite. On our way to the room, we discovered that the lad had just shifted to day duty after working nights. Inquiring further, we learned that the front doors are locked at 10 p.m., so that any guests or visitors must have been let in by the night staff. Clarendon, leading a most exemplary life, was almost always in his rooms before 10. The constable on guard lets us into the two-room suite and oversees our tour. The sitting room walls are papered in a subdued floral pattern. The ceiling is covered with yellow plaster. The constable indicates the entryway to the bedroom as the place where the body was found. There is some blood on the carpet. A larger stain had apparently been made by the spilled contents of 2 wine glasses laying nearby, one shattered. In the center of the sitting room, some 15 feet away, are small flecks of yellow plaster. A search of the sitting room yields nothing much in the way of personal items. In the top desk drawer, however, we find a folded bank statement from Cox's. June 1st, withdrawals of £5,000. Deposits June 16th of £2,000. Deposit June 18th of £500. We wander into the bedroom. In the closet, there are but 2 shirts and 3 pairs of shoes, one of them a pair of canvas fencing shoes dyed black. In the dresser, there is the usual assortment of underwear and shirts. Loosely tossed in the top drawer is a black wool sweater and a pair of black trousers. Not much of a view, comments Wiggins, looking out of the open bedroom window. The brick wall of the building across the alley is dreary indeed. Even the ivy vines which wind up the trellis and cover the back wall of the holidays are dusty and cheerless. Okay,
so we should go over another thing we learned is that we need to go over all of that, like with a fine-tooth comb, and figure out everything that might be remotely relevant, or like I said, we've had problems where we missed little things. So
okay,
go over everything of the. So
starting at the beginning, the manager is very upset over the police quarantine. So we have to talk to the day clerk.
Yeah. Okay.
He registered under the name of Clarence Gee. However, his name is Guy Clarendon.
Okay.
So that's interesting. And that was on the 29th of May.
So he's been there for a few days.
He was given a front room on the 3rd floor. He's been there for a month and a few days.
Oh, God, yeah.
So 3rd floor, room in front. Fun fact, one of those newspapers is going to have come out during his stay, because the last case was actually after this.
That's interesting.
Each newspaper corresponds to the date of a case. So the last case, I believe, took place in June.
Sounds correct.
Anyway, 2 days later, he asked to be moved to a suite. Based on the description of the suite later, the view, it sounds like the view is worse. And that would have been May 31st. June 1st. Apparently. Never mind. Okay. So then there was this disagreeable gentleman who is large, has a thick walrus mustache, and a prominent scar down his cheek, who came to wait for Mr. Clarendon. And then once Mr. Clarendon came downstairs, the man yanks him aside. Mr. Clarendon seemed scared, but the day clerk was going to call for help when he was signed that all was well, and then they left together.
Okay.
So.
I have no idea who that is right now.
No. And that was on June 1st. But he's a very distinctive fellow if we figure out who he is.
True.
The other visitor was a striking woman, fashionably dressed, distinctive laugh, who came by frequently.
She came by frequently. That's interesting. That's the accused, right?
No. This is some other woman.
Oh, okay.
He says that 9 o'clock on July 2nd, a plain-looking woman, who I wouldn't even have noticed her, as opposed to a very striking woman.
Oh, okay.
She came in, she wasn't looking left or right, she proceeded directly to the staircase.
So if we stop there, that makes me think it's the same woman.
Why is that? Because she knows exactly.
She knows exactly where she's going, and they specifically said the other woman had been there many times.
Yeah.
And so if it was the same woman, she would have known exactly what she was doing and gone in, right?
That's true.
And it could be other things, but that's what makes me think.
So, but how did she go from being striking, fashionably dressed?
Well, fashionably dressed is pretty easy change.
Yeah, distinctive laugh to. She was so plain woman, I wouldn't even notice that she came in.
I don't know, wigs, clothing, not talking.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So, anyway. Hair dye, I don't know. But anyway, it seems like it's definitely a possibility, you know?
Okay. He was going to intercept her when he was buttonholed by Mr. Ramsey, a guest of long residence, chronic complainer. He says it couldn't have been 30 seconds later when there was a woman's scream.
So she wasn't in that room for very long.
No.
Well, I don't know whose
they said
scream it was necessarily, I guess.
Correct. The inquisitive guest said that they heard a faint bang before the scream.
Okay, interesting. Which could have been a gunshot, I guess, but it wouldn't have been faint if it was a gunshot, right?
True. Let's see. There I found the body of Mr. Clarendon, the aforementioned woman, lying in a swoon in the center of the room with a pistol in her hand. I revived her with whiskey found in the room.
There's whiskey in the room. I don't know if that means anything.
I don't know. I mean, we already knew that he was kind of fond of drink.
It's true.
When she came to, she was totally disoriented. She had no idea where she was, what she had done. When she saw Clarendon's body, she gave out a small cry and let go of the pistol as if it were red hot. She took her to a nearby banquet room and had the police summoned.
So, if she had just gone up there to shoot him, a woman's scream wouldn't have made any sense. So it definitely makes more sense that she was attacked or knocked out and planted with the gun.
True.
Then she just walked up there to shoot him, right?
It's also interesting that nobody heard a gunshot. Just a faint bang.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if...
we should possibly go see either the criminologist or the... Whoever talks about the MO of stuff, because it sounds like...
I guess the criminologist. The coroner would basically just tell us, oh yeah, he was shot.
But the coroner might be able to say he was shot earlier or whatever. And we don't even know.
Probably. I'm going to presume that he was shot because otherwise they wouldn't have arrested her for shooting him.
Anyway, carry on.
So, at our request, the clerk calls a sleepy bellboy to show us the suite. On our way to the room, we discover that the lad had just shifted to day duty after working nights. Inquiring further, we learn the front doors are locked at 10 p.m. Clarendon, leading a most exemplary life, was always in his rooms before 10. So it's possible that Clarendon had a guest with him prior to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's a 2-room suite. Sitting room walls are papered in subdued floral pattern. The ceiling is covered with yellow plaster. The constable indicates the entryway to the bedroom as the place where the body was found. There is some blood on the carpet. A larger stain had been made by the spilled contents of 2 wine glasses laying nearby, one shattered. So there were 2 full wine glasses. So either he had company or he was expecting company.
Right.
In the center of the sitting room, some 15 feet away, are small flecks of yellow plaster, which is the ceiling. So 15 feet away from the body are flecks of plaster from the ceiling.
Well, that is interesting. I feel like we're catching more information this time, even if we're not putting it to good use yet.
Yeah, this is true. I don't know what to make of all of this yet. There's some blood on the carpet, but in the larger stain was actually, it says, had been apparently made by spilled 2 wine glasses, but maybe it wasn't wine. I don't know. That one sounds like a stretch.
Yeah.
A search of the sitting room yields nothing more than the way of personal items. In the top desk drawer, however, we find a folded bank statement from Cox's. So Cox, I assume, is his bank.
Why doesn't he have any personal items in the room?
I don't know. I mean, they also say in the closet it's pretty sparse, right? He's got 2 shirts, 3 pairs of shoes, one of which are fencing shoes. In the dresser, there's underwear and shirts. And then in the top drawer, there is a black wool sweater and a pair of black trousers. He's totally the burglar, isn't he?
That's entirely possible.
I'm just saying, he's got a casually strewn black wool sweater and a pair of black trousers. That reads as burglar.
Cat burglar,
yeah. He's also, let's see. So the bank statement says that he withdrew £5,000 on June 1st, which may be to pay his tab. That was the day that he moved to the 2 suite of rooms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But then he made deposits of £2,000 on June 16th and £500 on June 18th. Do you have the dates of the burglars?
I do. I have the dates.
Or the burglaries?
I have the dates and the values of the society burglar items.
Okay, interesting.
Obviously, he's not going to be able to turn them into that much straight cash, right?
So is there anything around June 16th?
Yeah, June 15th, he stole a diamond necklace worth £3,000.
Okay.
That was when he deposited
£2,000 June 16th.
And then on June 17th, he stole a diamond pendant worth £1,000.
June 18th, he deposited £500. Was there anything prior in June? There were, though.
There was a bunch of stuff prior in June.
Yeah, but this doesn't show any further deposits.
Anyway,
so that's definitely not it. Total.
It's not for sure.
Totally for sure. Yeah. Okay. And then we talked already about the contents of the dresser. And then finally they talk about the view. The brick wall of the building across the alley is dreary indeed. Even the ivy vines with wind up the trellis and cover the back wall of Holidays are dusty and cheerless. However, he could totally exit and enter
through a trellis.
Through the trellis. So maybe that's another reason that he wanted to be moved.
When did he request to be moved?
June 1st. So 2 days after he.
Which is the day before the first theft.
Interesting. I think.
I think we're on this. There's too much that lines up for this.
I mean, this could be a very elaborate red herring. All right. So, something about, but we don't know why she came to see him, nor do we know anything about this supposed guest that he was with, that was with him, or that he was expecting.
Yeah.
And she may have been this striking woman, but she might not have been. Okay, so where do we go from here? You want to talk to the criminologist?
So we want to talk to the criminologist about gunpowder residue, caliber bullets, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We also should probably see the coroner about whether or not how he was killed and how long ago he was shot and angles of things and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think we should talk to the victim at all? Or I'm kind of wondering, it sounds like she kind of got amnesia.
The victim or the accused?
The suspect. So I don't know how helpful it would be to talk with her.
I mean, it might help if she said, I heard a bang from wherever,
Yeah, it just said that when she came to, she had no idea what happened. So, but it's worth a shot.
Probably not the most useful, but we'll put it on our list of things that could be interesting.
Is it worth paying a visit to this guy's bank at all?
Probably.
Okay. Is there anybody else offhand that seems like they would be very useful to talk to soon? We could talk to the lawyers, the source of information on trials and legal affairs. We could talk to the owner of Rabbit and Rat Tavern, who's the source of information for all legal affairs and on all criminals. We could talk to the journalist of the Police Gazette.
Right, those all seem like they could be relevant. Do you want to
All
go
right,
with a couple of our leads?
Let's start with the criminologist.
Sounds good.
The criminologist, H.R. Murray, analyzes all items and substances discovered during the course of an investigation. He's at 22 Southwest. I'm not going to mark him down because he's one of our allies. Okay, entering... Oh, let me write down what we want there.
So we are keeping track of every location we visit, because theoretically that's how you calculate your score and how well you did, but we don't really care that much.
Also, when I go, oh crap, I didn't write this down, where should I refer? I can then look at the list to figure out where I should go back in the book. Okay. Entering his laboratory, we were initially unable to locate H.R. Murray in his maze of chemical paraphernalia, file cabinets, and boxes, until Wiggins notices a faint snore coming from the far corner. We walk over and find him hunched on his desk, asleep with a pile of criminal reports and chemistry notes as a pillow. Wiggins taps him on the shoulder, he jerks upright, and his white hair and the white papers mingle in a temporary flurry around his head. Hello? What? Oh my, where? Oh yes. Dude, Higgins? I should have dozed off. What is up today? It's Wiggins, sir, and we're looking into the Clarendon murder. Clarendon? I just finished that report when I fell asleep. Let's see, number 301. He rummages through his pile of papers, although we wonder how a report he'd just written could be anywhere but on top. Here it is, 301, Clarendon, Gee. Not much, I'm afraid. A hole in the shirt where a small caliber buffet passed through the body. Extensive blood powder burns, indicating a close range shot. Oh, here's something interesting. On the lower part of the shirt, I found traces of alcohol, wine to be exact. I have a good nose, and I believe it was an inferior quality Italian red. I was in Italy, and we toe off and missed his lecture on the chemical qualities of finer wines. That was not as helpful.
Oh, but it is super helpful. So
really?
it's at a close range.
Yeah.
And she was in the middle of the room, and he was like on the edge of the room. So it didn't make sense that she would have shot him at close range, And if he had wine on himself, it probably means he was holding the wine, or was near the wine.
Yes, that's true.
Shot.
That's true.
Holmes probably did not need to see the criminologist.
No.
But the short range thing is relevant because, from my understanding of the way the room was laid out, she wasn't like right by him.
Yeah,
she was
it said that she was swoon in the center of the room with a pistol in her hand, whereas he was found in the doorway between the bedroom and the sitting room.
And he had no wine anywhere near him. I mean, I suppose he could have spilled wine on himself earlier and just not cleaned it up. But
or he spilled it and then he staggered for 20 feet before.
So, but yeah, but they were like half a room apart from each other, so that is not consistent with the close range shot. What sounds more likely is he was shot.
Well, actually, it says the entryway to the bedroom was the place where the body was found. A larger stain had been apparently made by the spilled contents of 2 wine glasses laying nearby.
Okay. So that part's not crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So, chronologist's done. Who do you want to see next?
You want to see the coroner?
We could. I don't know how helpful the coroner is going to be.
That's actually true. I feel like the coroner's not super
we kind of already know that he was shot by a, what did he say? A buffet? I don't know what that is.
That might be there's a lot of typos in this game, but that might be bullet.
Oh, that would make that would make more sense.
But it was a small caliber bullet.
Small caliber bullet.
Did it mention
with extensive blood powder burns.
Did it mention what type of gun
No.
she had?
Oh, she had a pistol.
All right, nothing more specific than that?
No.
All right.
Do you want to see the coroner now, or you want to try other
Well, what else do we think
locations?
would be useful?
Well, we had written down coroner, jail, bank.
Let's go to the jail. I want to see if she's
I'm going to say the criminal informer, well, the CI, and then also the police reporter could be helpful. What did you say? You want to go to the jail?
Yeah, I want to see her.
Okay, so she's in criminal court, Old Bailey. I'm not entirely sure what heading that would be under.
So
here, I'll just check for.
we still have no idea, like. So we don't have any leads on
Bailey.
who it might actually have been.
36 EC. I'll just. Can you mark this?
36 EC. Sure.
Yeah, and that's where she's being held.
Right.
No, at this point, we have no idea who it was.
135 EC. Sure, it's EC. There it is. Criminal court.
36 EC.
Yep.
Our interview.
I mean, you're right. You might just say.
Our interview with Edward Hall is very short. Oh, is somebody located there? Yes, the lawyer. Lawyer at Old Bailey's Tribunal. So, one of our allies is this lawyer. Our interview with Edward Hall is very short. He knows little of the Clarendon murder, but with his connections, he's able to arrange an interview with Frances Nolan, who's the person we're actually trying to interview. Confined in a drab holding cell at the criminal court, Old Bailey, she is the picture of misery. Her eyes, her most attractive feature in an otherwise plain face, hold a great deal of confusion and disbelief at her present situation. I don't remember anything except seeing Guy's body across the room and the pistol in my hand. I screamed and I must have fainted. I didn't even know that he was at Halliday's, and I've never been there before. And why would I shoot him? We loved each other. Wiggins goes to her to calm her down. Now let's take it one step at a time. What is the last thing you remember before the room at Halliday's? Going to bed the night before. On Sunday evenings, Dr. Trevelyan dines with me at my home. My sister Loretta is under his care, and these weekly meetings involve her progress. Well, the doctor and I have become friends over the year. Dr. Trevelyan left at 10 o'clock. At 11, my maid Grace prepared a cup of cocoa for me. I drank it and read in bed for a short time and then went to sleep. How long have you known Guy Clarendon? I first met him at the country estate of Cornelius Oldwine in March. There was a party of some sort, and my sister climbed a 20-foot fountain and dived in. She caught pneumonia, and I had to go fetch her home. Guy was at the estate. And he immediately began paying court to you? No, in fact, he didn't seem to notice me. I was quite surprised some weeks later when he called. It was a lovely afternoon, May 10th. He apologized for his impertinence at calling without an appointment and asked permission to call again. We began seeing a good deal of each other, went for carriage rides, picnic lunches. He declared his love for me and asked my hand in marriage. I couldn't have killed him. How do you explain your presence at Halliday's? I can't. It's just like the other 2 times. You've had memory loss before? Yes, twice in the past month. The first time I found myself sitting on a bench in Hyde Park. It was late in the afternoon, and the last thing I remember was having lunch with my sister. The second time occurred a few days later. That morning, I met with my solicitor, Hiram Davenport. That was the last thing I remember until I woke up at Liverpool Street Station. I consulted my Dr. Mason, and he was quite puzzled. He prescribed rest. Where did you acquire the pistol? I've never seen it before, even though the police assured me that it was mine. One last question. What is Gerald Locke to you? So he's the one who hired us, right? Yeah. Jerry is an old dear friend. I'm afraid we've had a falling out as of late. He said some very unkind words about Guy. Edward Hall catches up to us on our way out. He tells us that he has asked Wilfred Robarts to take Miss Nolan's case. He's young, but he's already gained quite a reputation. Mark my words, he will be knighted someday. All right, so that was a lot of information.
So I have newspaper memories here.
Okay.
Milo de Meyer, the celebrated magnetist at the Olympia, will produce his wonderful experiments of new mesmerism and is prepared to magnetize any lady or gentleman from the audience.
Magnetize? Is that
new
like
mesmerism? I assume that's like a hypnotist.
Yeah, I was just about to say that must be like hypnotism. Okay, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, before I forget.
Okay, so Edward Hall, we don't really care about. He's our ally, our ally that didn't really have much information.
Yeah.
Okay, we've confirmed that she's very plain. Again, yes. She doesn't remember anything except seeing Guy's body and the pistol.
So she basically woke up when they woke her up.
Yes. I didn't even know he was at Halliday's, and I've never been there before. So she's probably not that striking woman then.
Probably not.
I'm going to shoot him. We love each other. I'm getting the impression, of course, that he's using her, but I don't know in what capacity. So the night before, on Sunday evenings, Dr. Trevelyan dines with me at my home. So Dr. Trevelyan is her sister's physician.
Yep.
He left at 10. And then her maid, Grace, prepared cocoa. I drank it, read in bed for a short time, and went to sleep. And then she doesn't remember anything then until she woke up after having been found.
Right. So the maid could theoretically be on this if she's drugging her or something, but...
let's see. The other two times, let's see. The first time I found myself sitting on a bench in Hyde Park. It was late in the afternoon. The last thing I remember was having lunch with my sister. The second time occurred a few days later. So this is all within the month of June, right?
Yeah.
The second time occurred a few days later. I met with my solicitor, Hiram Davenport. That was the last thing I remember until I woke up at Liverpool Street Station. And then she consulted her doctor, which is Dr. Mason. It's very interesting that she does not view Gerald Locke as a potential suitor, even though that's the reason he's doing this.
She didn't give dates for her pass outs, did she?
She did not. She just said it's happened twice in the past month.
Okay.
Edward Hall catches up to us and says that he's asked Wilfred Robarts to take her case. So, Hiram Davenport is her solicitor, but now Wilfred Robarts will be her barrister, I guess.
Because those are things. Or were things.
Okay. So, now let's talk about her meeting, Guy.
Sure.
So, she says, I first met him in a country estate of Cornelius Old Wine in March.
Cornelius Old Wine. What's the name?
I'm wondering if he's a possible victim, or there could be other things. He could be in any of the newspapers because we have one from June and one from March.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar though. Keep on here. I'll just keep looking.
So, there was a party, and her sister climbed a fountain and dove in and got sick, and then she had to go fetch her sister. Guy was at the estate. And then she said some weeks later he called on me, May 10th. We began seeing a good deal of each other, went for carriage rides. Here's a fun fact. There's a typo here. It actually says carnage rides.
I saw that here too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be carriage rides.
I think so too, but I thought it was really funny. Yeah,
Carnage rides and picnic lunches. He asked for my hand in marriage.
Mr. and Mrs. Francis Bailey return sincere thanks to their friends and acquaintances for their kind inquiries since their carnage accident. This must be just like a translation thing. But
I don't know. There's a couple of things that make me think that they did a text recognizer.
Yeah. Right.
And then got some of the letters wrong. But I don't know. It could have been a translation thing.
Is that all the information?
Let's see. So May 10th was when they started dating, basically. Apparently, this all happened very fast. They started dating May 10th, and they're already engaged to be married.
You said Cornelius Oldenburg?
Old wine.
Oh, Oldenburg is a thing. Old wine is totally different, apparently.
Do you want me to look through the newspapers at all?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I think we should go see Milo the maybe hypnotist.
Okay. What was his name?
Milo de Meyer at the Olympia.
Okay. So the Olympia is 63 Southwest. Here we go. Can you find it on the map?
63 Southwest. 66. 63.
Okay, the Olympia Theater. All right.
Let's do this.
The air at the Olympia could be qualified as electric. The director, Mr. Casey, a small round man in a striped costume, can't stop waxing eloquent about Milo de Meyer. His show is truly remarkable. He manages to submit to his will the most skeptical of spectators. We follow him through a maze of hallways where all the theater staff seem to have given themselves an appointment, almost getting knocked out by an oriental column being carried by two stagehands. Arriving in front of Milo's lodge, he knocks on the door and doesn't wait for an answer before going in. Mr. de Meyer, you have visitors. When we enter, Milo de Meyer seems to be meditating on the floor. His legs are crossed in the lotus position, his eyes closed, his index and thumb on each hand forming a circle, and he chants a soft melody. Ah, he's in a trance. Sorry, sirs, but when he's in that state, it's almost impossible to wake him. I suggest you wait, but he can remain like that for hours. As we hesitate to wait like this until he awakens, Milo de Meyer opens his eyes wide. Good day, sirs. My astral body just happened to be floating over Mr. Casey when you approached him, and I've interrupted my meditative voyage to re-embody myself.
Oh, it's so nice of him.
So you're looking for information about hypnosis. Let me tell you, good sirs, that it's very precise practice, which isn't linked to any science, but which nonetheless remains governed by precise rules.
Obviously.
Before we can even begin to ask questions, Milo de Meyer starts a very instructive speech about hypnosis. First off, hypnosis can be used on anyone, but a subject who is physically weakened will of course be easier to manipulate. The first step consists of focusing the attention of the subject on a specific element, fixed and regular. It could be the flame of a candle or the motion of a pendulum. Once the subject is hypnotized, you can make them do many things, but never something their moral values reject or their physical capabilities do not allow them. The subject would faint when faced with the contradiction between what you ask of them and what their subconscious imposes on them. In all cases, the subject will not remember what they might have done in their hypnotized state. Although I don't need to use such things in my shows, there are certain drugs which may help a subject to enter a state of hypnosis. There are mainly light sedatives available without a prescription. There, I think I've given you the rough lines about the art of hypnosis. Since you have no further questions, I'll ask if you could kindly let me return to my meditation, as I have not yet finished my preparation for tonight's show.
I have a bunch of further questions.
We leave the hypnotist to his astral voyage and exit the theater. So, the part about the fainting is interesting.
That's true.
But as far as the drugs...
I mean, she said her maid made her cocoa.
For that one time. The other 2 times she was... She was, well, she said that she was dining with people, right?
Yeah.
So she was eating. That was, like, the last thing that she remembers. And she could have been eating in her home.
It's true. Could have been her sister? If we go see her sister?
It could have been. We could go visit her house. I think they live together. Let's see. Nolan. Oh, they don't live together. Okay, so now we have the coroner, the bank, the CI, the police reporter, the suspect's house, and her sister.
I'm interested in her sister at this point.
All right.
What do you think?
Works for me. So, Loretta Nolan is at 21 Southwest. A man dressed as if he'd stepped from the pages of the Tales of the Arabian Nights, curved scimitar and all, bars our entrance to Loretta Nolan's home. Only when it is established that we are not tradesmen collecting for goods or services are we allowed to pass. Right. We enter the parlor to find Miss Loretta reclining on large silk pillows, clad in a costume similar to her servant's, that is, a man's Arabian outfit. To add to the motif, large swatches of brightly colored material are draped about the room on red cords. By appearances, we may have entered a Rasha's tent.
Okay.
Enter and be recognized, she commands, lifting her head from the hookah on which she is puffing. It must be her look of total disbelief which causes her to break out with peals of deep, unrestrained laughter. When we do not respond, except perhaps to shift from foot to foot to indicate our discomfort, her laugh abruptly dies and her mouth pauses in a pout. Oh, you do not wish to play. Very well. She is suddenly on her feet and flying around the room, whisking away the cloth. Plopping down in a chair that was hidden by the material, she tells us to state our business. I don't think she's physically sick.
Well, she had like pneumonia.
That was like a month ago, I guess, 2 months ago. Or no, it was in March, so a couple months ago. I'm presuming that she's recovered by now, but she also does have a doctor, and I got the impression that it was for the other kind of sick.
Mental issues. Fair enough.
So, popping down on a chair that was once hidden by the material, she tells us to state our business. You do not seem upset at all by Mr. Clarendon's death and your sister's arrest. She takes a long moment to answer, staring off into nothingness. Guy was fun to be with. My sister, she is an innocence among the lions. Before I can ask a question, she rises and calls her butler. I believe I will be going out this evening, Randall. She sweeps out of the room, leaving us standing alone. So, what'd you get from that?
I got nothing from that. Sorry. I mean, it sounds like she's
crazy.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like she's like familiar with doing stuff with Guy, and she could have been.
The one thing that sounded interesting to me was they described her laugh as deep, unrestrained laughter.
Oh.
But at the scene of the crime, he said that there was a striking woman who, quite fashionably dressed, who had a most distinctive laugh, very full and deep.
Okay.
So, possibly she's the woman that kept visiting Guy. Possibly.
That would make sense.
Alright. So, where do you want to go next?
What do you think? Let's say hello to a couple people in the chat. Hello, DJ. DJ Beats, 37HZ, and the Trapar.
Ooh.
I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But welcome to the
viewers.
To the stream, people. Has anyone actually played this before? You're just seeing how terribly we're doing?
Yeah, I would love if somebody's actually played this in this case. And it's like, oh, they're totally on the wrong direction. I think I wanna check out the he might be the burglar lead.
Okay.
So I would like to go to the bank.
Sure. So I was thinking he has all these there's all these thefts and he only had a couple of them at that bank.
It's true.
It would make sense if he dropped them off at multiple banks, right? Split them up.
Also true.
So that it's not entirely crazy that we only have a couple of them.
Cox and Company Bank is at 22 WC.
All right. How do you want me to notate that? Do you care what color?
I do not care about the color.
22 WC.
I only have like a couple of each color, so. I'm pretty sure the red was scene of the crime, and that's all I got.
22 WC is the Grand Hotel.
Did I read it wrong then?
I don't know. It's just labeled there, so I want to make sure.
Cox and Company Bank, 22 WC?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Maybe they're just in the
same building.
In the same building as the hotel.
I'm not finding anything in these old newspapers.
22 WC?
That's what you said.
There's no entry for that.
Yeah.
Let me double check in the back.
That is odd.
22 WC. Alright. Guess we aren't going to the bank.
Alright, that seems odd that it wouldn't even be in there.
Oh, 22 WC. Sorry, it is here. At Cox's, we find that Geek Clarendon's activity at the bank was sporadic, with deposits rather infrequent before June 12th.
Rather infrequent before June 12th, you said?
Yes.
June 2nd was the first burglary. June 12th was after the 11th on the ruby earrings.
So not much to say. My lead might have been worse than your lead.
Oh. So on the March 12th, there's a thing about burglaries, but this is not probably relevant, right?
Because the first of the society burglary wasn't until June 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So it's not relevant.
Okay. So do you want to talk to the CI or the police reporter?
Who's the CI?
He's the owner of the tavern, who is
let's do that.
an expert on all illegal affairs.
Let's dig a little deeper into the murder thing.
So, 52 EC.
So, DJ, in case you missed the very beginning, this is a board game, sort of, called Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, where it gives us like a little bit of information about like what the murder is, kind of like the very first scene in any kind of crime procedural. And then from there, you can look in the directory about where people live or where buildings are, or look in the newspaper for more information, and try to find more clues until we can solve the murder or solve the mystery. In this case, it's a murder, and we're working on behalf of someone who we think is falsely accused. So we think that the victim is the society burglar who has stolen a bunch of jewels.
But we're not sure yet. All right, you ready?
Yeah, should I read? I was going to read you that there's a little bit of an MO.
Oh.
For the society burglar. I thought there might be something relevant in there. It says that elusive and so far successful burglar, commonly known as the society burglar, has gotten away with jewels valued at £14,000 by the 7 victims to date. Speculation continues as to the identity of the burglar, who seems to be acquainted with various and sometimes ingenious hiding places of his victims' jewels. The other striking aspects of the modus operandi are the taking of only one select piece at each time and the occurrence of all thefts when the victims are not at home. I don't know if that...
Yeah, I thought either I read that already or I thought I heard that mentioned earlier, but I could be wrong.
Stephanie loves this game. I think it's
this is like
pretty
the third day
cool.
in a row that we've been playing this game now.
Yeah, Stephanie is hooked. She's a sucker for mysteries.
That is true, I guess.
Mysteries and spies.
Yeah. Yeah, at the very beginning of the opening, it said Cleopatra tiara stolen, as with the others, no signs of extensive search for the thief. Only one piece of jewelry involved. Victims elsewhere at the time.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to talk to this guy, Porky Shinwell, owner of the Raven and Rat Tavern. Sources of information for all illegal affairs and on all criminals.
All right.
Oh, of course I knew Clarendon. He and his lady friends stopped in from time to time. They were usually on their way to Kilgore's gaming parlor or coming back from it, says Porky Shinwell.
So you just said his lady. We don't know who that actually is, right?
Right. What's Kilgore's gaming parlor? It's a nice little place down in the southeast, frequented by swells and toffs. The coppers have been trying to close it down for years, but Kilgore knows when they come within 3 blocks. Clarendon was into him for a sizable sum, or so it was said. 7,000 pounds was the figure I heard. Got to the point that Kilgore wouldn't allow him in his place. I understand Clarendon didn't take too kindly to that. Almost caused a row until Kilgore's right-hand man, Gus Bullock, stepped in. Clarendon backed down. I don't blame him none. Gus is a mean character right enough. There's a joke about Gus. Somebody once said he'd like to see the customer who gave Gus that scar. He was told, so would the fellow's widow. Ha ha. So
that's probably the tough guy who...
The tough guy.
Who cornered Guy a couple days before he was killed, right? Same day?
No.
Day before?
Like a month before.
Was it a month?
It was like the day
that makes
he
sense.
moved into the
suite. He did owe him money, and then he started robbing.
And then he started robbing it. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, Kilgore made it clear that he expected the money, and there was bad feelings all around. Then maybe a month or so later, Clarendon shows up, all smiles, and he and Kilgore getting on like brothers. Figure Clarendon must have paid him back. Then Calvin Leach steps into the picture. Who's Calvin Leach? Well, rumor has it that Leach deals in what you might call stolen property. Square dealer, too. Give you 1/2 the value of the article. Now, Calvin Leach don't usually associate with the likes of Claude Kilgore, but there it is. Leach, Kilgore, Clarendon, beaten late at night, just as thick as fog. The meetings continued on right up until, well, the night before Clarendon's death. Did these meetings take place at the Raven and Rat? Well, won't say they did, won't say they didn't. Will say, though, everything I told you is as true as if it were written in the good book. Now, we be standing here, John, and I don't hear nobody ordering a pint or nothing. What'll it be? So, that was full of interesting information. So,
the one guy said he'll give you half of what the value of it was.
Yes.
But the thing he deposited on the 15th was he deposited 2/3 of the value of the thing.
Well, what if we add them all together? Like, what theoretically, how much money has the society burglar stolen by now?
14,000 pounds.
Okay. And he
owed 7,000 pounds? Is that the...
He owed 7,000.
Oh, yeah.
But he also, let's see. He also had withdrawn 5,000 and deposited 2,500.
Right, so when was what was the first deposit? It was on the 12th before 500? First, what?
The 16th was the first deposit.
And that was for how much?
2,000.
Okay, so the amount he got on the 11th was 1,000 and 15th was 3,000. So that would jive. And then when was the next deposit?
June 18th for 500.
And since then he had stolen 1,000.
So wait, what are the amounts he stole on what date?
The 2nd, 500.
Okay.
The 5th, 1,500.
Okay.
The 8th, 2,000.
Okay.
The 11th, 1,000.
All right.
15th, 3,000.
Okay.
17th, 1,000.
Okay.
And the 1st, 5,000.
And that was the Cleopatra tiara, right?
It says diamond tiara from Leeds. You just said something about Leeds in here. I think you just read, didn't you?
Maybe. We'll go back after it. I just wanted to quickly look at the math here.
So just for reference, I'm reading this out of a newspaper article from today in the game that is listing all the things that the society burglar has stolen so far and their values. And then we're comparing that. We found a bank slip in the victim's hotel room where he was murdered, which is interesting. And so we're comparing that against some of the numbers, and the information we got that the fence guy will give you half the value of some things you've stolen. And apparently the newspaper and the fence value things exactly the same, because that would be too confusing otherwise.
So basically, according to this, prior to the $2,500 deposit,
he had. When did he withdraw? On June 1st. So that was before before any of these thefts had occurred.
Yeah, and presumably to pay off this guy, but he still owed him $2,000 then, right?
Right.
And then if you take the robberies from June 2nd to June 8th, that's $2,000.
Right.
Then he deposited the next $2,000 and then the next $500.
And then the last tiara.
The Cleopatra tiara is unaccounted for, it sounds like. But they were also meeting the night before his death. Now let's see, he died on, July 1st. And when was the tiara stolen?
July 1st.
Didn't he die the morning of July 1st, though?
Yeah, but I mean, it probably wouldn't have been might not have been reported stolen the next day.
That's true. So you think they were meeting right before he went and stole it? Or right after he stole it?
The fence could have been involved in things. They didn't want to pay him that much money, or it was too hot. So the name Leeds was the name of the owner of the tiara. What did you...
Kevin Leach?
Oh, not Leeds.
No. Leeds was the owner of the tiara.
You had that somewhere else?
Sir Sanford Leeds. And the lady Leeds who ended up hospitalized because she was so distraught over losing the tiara, right?
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so let's see. Gus Bullock, Kilgore. So we learned a few more people. So,
Holly01's in the chat. Welcome.
So we have Kilgore, who runs the gambling racket. We have Gus Bullock, who's his
thug.
And then we have the fence, who is Calvin Leach.
Kind of want to go see him. What do you think?
You just want to walk up to the fence?
I don't know.
We can try it.
What's it gonna do? Say you die?
Touche. More like he's not gonna have an entry in this book.
No, we can go to the CI though.
That was the CI.
Oh, we just saw?
Yeah, so he's not, Calvin Leach is not in the book. The guy we just saw is the owner of the Raven and Rat, which is 52 EC. And I just, okay. Kilgore's Gaming Parlor is down in the southeast. I feel like this is also not going to be in here because he says that he manages to shut it up before
the cops
show up. However, Kilgore Claude is listed. Do you want to visit him?
Sure.
So he's at 21 Southeast.
All right, you want to look that up before I mark it here? It's on Princess and Jonathan on Vauxhall Walk.
It's like 21, right?
That's what you said, yeah.
Not listed.
Didn't say how to get to Kilgore's Gaming Parlor?
Well, it just said it was a nice little place in the southeast. I'm assuming that it's just not going to be, like, on the map. Where is it on the map? Yeah, there's, like, nothing public nearby it listed on here.
The lunatic asylum.
Don't think that's going to be helpful. I think we need a little bit more information before we can find this place. I'll look up his thug. I'm surprised that it's SE, right? Yeah. I'm surprised that they don't have even, like, you go to the home and there is no answer. Unless I was looking at the wrong... I was looking at the wrong thing. 21 Southeast. Claude Kilgore is a very smooth customer. He admits to knowing Clarendon, but has no idea who Calvin Leach is, or so he says.
Alright,
that was a bust.
Alright, where to next? What about the crime, blah blah blah, the newspaper?
The police reporter?
That one. Oh, that was a crime reporter.
He is the crime reporter.
That one then.
Journalist of the Police Gazette, source of information on criminal affairs. 35 EC.
Tell us where the Kilgore Club is, whatever it is.
Well, the Clarendon murder looks fairly open and shut, says Quentin Hogg. Not your typical murderess, I admit, but there you have it. Not helpful.
That was not helpful at all.
I feel like I should mark down, like, which ones are just, like, worthless.
Right.
So you can see how many leads we shouldn't have followed up on. Well, we still have the matter of going to her house if we want to stop following the robbery trail. We could visit the victim of the robbery.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Maybe?
We could find the guy whose estate that she met him on.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think is the most relevant at this point?
You know, I'm kind of curious about this Cornelius Old Wine guy.
Sure.
.48 Southwest. Let's see. Cornelius Old Wine is tall and thin, about 30 years of age, and thoroughly bored with everything around him, which at the present moment happens to be us. Poor old Guy, he could be such fun. Would you tell us about the incident at your country estate last March when Loretta Nolan jumped into a fountain? It wasn't much, really. Someone, I don't recall who, dared Loretta jump into the fountain, it being March and quite chilly. She did them one better. She dove in and swam to the center column. Absolutely dreadful sculpture, by the way, of swans and mermaids and whatnot. It rises some 20 or 30 feet in the air. She climbed it. The woman is part monkey, I do believe, and dove in. Then it seemed to be the thing to do. Everybody took the plunge. Guy was the only one who actually climbed the fountain, though. Half my guests came down with sneezes, and Loretta caught pneumonia. Her sister came to fetch her? Is that who that woman was? I'm sure I was introduced, but I don't recall. Alright, I guess that's not super helpful.
Guy was the only one. Guy he climbed as well.
He's the only one who climbed the fountain, though, which just shows once again that he could easily be the burglar.
Yeah, that's probably.
But I was hoping to get a little bit more information about Guy trying to use his society friends or anything like that, and apparently there's not much to tell there.
It's true. Like, he still needs a way to know that the people are out and where they keep their jewelry.
You know, we never went to Guy's home.
I want to do that.
There's an address listed here for his home.
Let's do it.
Even though he was living at a hotel. 31 Southwest. Okay. So Francis Clarendon is a severe old man deeply disappointed by his only son. He was a wastrel and a ne'er-do-well. Only a month or so ago, I gave him £5,000 and told him he'd be the last he'd see of my money. I hoped the shock would bring the boy around to make him realize that he had to settle down and carve out a life for himself. Enough of this shilly-shallying, the gambling, out all hours of the night with that wild woman who was breaking his poor mother's heart. Wild woman? What do you mean? That Nolan girl. Frances Nolan? No, that's sister of hers, Loretta. You mentioned gambling. Do you know with whom your son gambled, or what he might have wanted to kill him? No, I'm sorry. He told us nothing. He only came around when he needed money, and since I told him there'd be no more money, I'd hardly seen him. Just breaking his mother's heart, he was. Gertrude Clarendon sits sobbing in the corner, her heart breaking indeed. Don't waste your tears on him, Gertie. He wasn't worth it. So saying, his own eyes begin to mist over. We quietly take our leave, and the butler follows us at the front door. Maybe I can help. Master Guy was a wild one, but he wasn't all bad. Please, we'd appreciate any help. About 5 weeks ago, I noticed a man hanging about, a very formidable-looking character. He had an ugly scar down the side of his face and was dressed rather carelessly, which is what attracted my attention. He just did not belong, if you know what I mean. Did he approach the door, or did you see him with young Clarendon? Neither. He just walked up and down the street for most of the evening. I was certain, however, that he had a special interest in the house. Late that night, or rather early the next morning, for I remember hearing the hall clock chime 3 times, I heard a clatter in the house and came to investigate. I'm a very light sleeper, and I was on my guard anyway because of the man with the scar. In any case, it was Master Guy, and he was in a terrible state. He was all battered and bruised, and there was a fresh cut on his forehead. I asked him point blank who did it. He didn't answer directly, just told me that I should forget about it and not mention it to anyone. This may be a big help. Thanks. So, if his dad gave him the £5,000...
That was the initial $5,000 he withdrew, probably, for his gambling debt.
But why did he need to withdraw it from the bank if his dad gave him the money?
He might have deposited it and then took it out when he needed it.
But he said that he gave him the money a month ago.
Wasn't that around the time when he withdrew it?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Only a month or so ago, I gave him £5,000. But he then... Oh, no. He gave him £5,000, and then it says that he made a withdrawal for £5,000. So shouldn't he have had £10,000 then?
I'm thinking that £5,000 he withdrew was the money his dad gave him.
Okay. Well, we'll work on that assumption then, because that makes all the math line up the way that we figured it out before. Maybe. But we confirmed that Loretta is the woman that was hanging around with him.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that just sort of confirmed some of our suspicions. It didn't really,
give us anything new.
Give us something new. I do wonder if, something bad happened with the robbery of the tiara. It doesn't explain why they were hypnotizing Loretta's sister.
Yeah, it's not like they
Who
just
was
did
she
it
having? She was having dinner with her sister's doctor.
We got the name of the doctor at some point.
Yeah, but I wanted to double check who she was meeting with again.
Sure.
When she was hypnotized.
I think that was
6cc.
Yeah, we went to see her in the lockup.
It was. So she was having dinner with her sister's doctor, and then the first time she was having lunch with her sister. The second time she was with her solicitor. So that seems to have no connection to the sister.
That's true. You know, this is sister's doctor, though?
Sure.
Since she is of particular interest now.
This is true. It was Dr. Trevelyan.
So we'll go to the directory, look him up. He's a respectable doctor. He'll be in the book. Really wish we could find the address of that gaming parlor.
Trevelyan Dr. Percy, 4WC.
You to be in charge of the directory now?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Really need to mark in these books like where the W's, where the EC's are.
Yeah.
Okay. 4WC. Dr. Trevelyan's manservant greets us at the door, bedecked in an apron and carrying a broom. He tells us Dr. Trevelyan is at his office, and a street cat attempts to dodge to the house with the sweep of the broom worthy of a professional cricketer who sends the cat flying back into the street, meowing away. How do we figure out where his office is?
Was that his house?
Apparently.
Well, it's not.
Whoops.
We want doctor. Doctors. Trevelyan, Dr. Percy, 19 Southwest.
Okay. I didn't realize I had to apparently look in the back of the book as opposed to the front of the book.
Well, the front of the book usually has all this stuff as well.
Yeah, that's why I got confused. Alright, 19 Southwest.
There are 6 gunsmiths.
Okay. Dr. Trevelyan is an athletic-looking man, and everything about him, his movements and gestures, is very precise. His eyes are piercing and vivacious and seem to read the depths of your soul. It is ever so slightly disturbing. He drops himself to the chair behind his desk, fiddles with his pocket watch, and asks how he can help us. We understand that you dined with Frances Nolan on the evening of July 1st. Yes, that is correct. We dine every Sunday. Her sister Loretta has been under my care some 10 years, first at the Mesmer Braid Institute and then in private practice. I meet with Miss Frances weekly to keep her informed of her sister's progress. What began as a purely clinical exercise has ripened into a pleasant evening between friends. Let me say, it is difficult to believe that Miss Frances committed this deed. She has a quiet, unassuming personality. One might describe her, albeit unkindly, as mousy. An act of such direct confrontation would not be at all in keeping with her character. Are she and her sister close? They lead very different and separate lives. Miss Frances lives a quiet life, while Miss Loretta is wild and flamboyant. Frances stays at home. Loretta never misses a party. Their individual laughs illustrate their differences. Frances is timid, no more than a titter. Loretta's laugh is deep and resounding, totally uninhibited. For her part, Miss Frances loves and cares for her sister as a parent would a child. Miss Loretta, while she often seeks refuge with her sister, and loves her as much as she is capable of love. Thank you, Doctor.
That really didn't give us any new information.
It says that they first met at the Mesmer Braid Institute. Are we able to discern what that is?
MEZ.
MES.
I don't see it on here.
I'm going to double check some of these newspapers.
What's the name of the gambling house?
The Kilgore Gambling Parlor.
So we're boring here, Internet. We are stumped. Thought we were doing so well on this one. When we first started.
I know, right? It's like we figured out a bunch of stuff right away, and then now we keep hitting dead ends.
You want to look at the questions or go see Holmes?
No.
Neither?
No, I don't think we've exhausted our options yet.
Okay. Like, well, is there a pharmacist or a chemist we could go see? Because she said that the hypnotist said that over-the-counter drugs could have done what they were mentioning, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we have a ally for that.
There's a bunch of chemists.
Beyond the criminologist. So, I think we would have to narrow it down a little bit.
I mean, look for a chemist that's near her house.
Whose house?
The accused.
Sure.
Where's the accused house? What's the last name again? I'm so bad with names. There's too many of them.
Well, we didn't go to her house yet.
I thought we did. Want to do that?
We did not.
Let's do that.
Okay.
What is it?
Francis Nolan.
You have it.
No, I mean, I don't know what the location is because we haven't been there yet.
46 WC.
Who did we just see? I wrote down
the doctor.
Oh, right. I was like, I wrote down Dr. Percy, and then I had a blank, but the answer was Dr. Percy's office.
Yeah, we went to his house, and then we went to... So there's 46 WC, and then look at the chemists. There's only one chemist in WC.
Where is WC? Okay, 46 WC. We speak to Miss Frances's maid, Grace, who tells us that on the evening of the 1st, Dr. Trevelyan was at the Nolan home until 10 o'clock. After Dr. Trevelyan left, Miss Frances asked for a cup of cocoa, and I brought it to her. As I came up the stairs to retire, the light in Miss Frances's room went out. The hall clock, again, it says dock, but it means clock, below struck the hall hour. That would be 11:30. I did wake up in the middle of the night. I actually thought it was almost morning, and thought I heard something. I listened for a time, but heard nothing more and dozed off. I rose at 7:30, completed my toilet by 8, and went downstairs to prepare Miss Frances's breakfast. No sooner was I in the kitchen than I heard the front door open and close. I saw Miss Frances walking down the street. I didn't know what to think when I heard the news except not to believe it. Miss Frances wouldn't harm anyone, especially Mr. Clarendon. Do you think I might be able to see her? I'd like to take her spectacles and a book or two. She was so fond of reading, you know. That didn't tell us anything.
So there's one chemist in the area near her house, and there's one chemist in the area near the sister's house. We could try those, but...
Well, I think if her sister's the one doing it, it's more likely to be that one. What do you think?
Probably, but I mean, she did it at her house, so... Yeah. So, Loretta Nolan is in Southwest, and 87 Southwest is the chemist in the Southwest sector.
All right. 87 Southwest. Chemist.
Giving it a shot. Good thing we know that chemist is British for pharmacist.
Outwardly, the Keenan Ashwell Pharmacy looks rather modest, a narrow door and a dirty colored wall between two imposing buildings. But once the door is crossed, the establishment is of an exemplary cleanliness and bigger than it looked on the outside. We wait in line behind an old man hunched over his cane, rubbing his own back with an extremely pale young man. The young man is struck with a violent coughing spell as he presents his prescription to the pharmacist. After the old man gets his mustard poultice, we can finally ask for questions. Many of our customers ask for all sorts of products. We're only authorized to administer light narcotics and sleeping aids, not strong drugs. You should try to discreetly inquire at Squire & Sons. I've heard it said they're less strict about the laws regarding those. We leave the establishment at the moment when a man lipping strongly enters. We hold the door for him so that he can enter without problems. Do you want to try this place, Squire & Sons?
Yeah, that's the one by Loretta. So it's 66 WC. Or, sorry, not the other one.
66 WC?
Yeah.
$10. They claim they don't do it, and then the other place does.
That would be annoying.
As we enter Squire & Sons Pharmacy, a strong smell of camphor immediately seizes our nostrils. We approach the counter and realize it seems to emanate directly from the employee standing behind it. Hello, sirs. What can I do for you? We're looking for information about various types of more commonly used narcotics. Narcotics, you say? It's not a usual subject in my establishment. You should try to ask questions at the Keenan to Ashwell Pharmacy. We thank him and hurry out.
You were right.
I was right. I was hoping I wouldn't be right, because now we're just running around in circles.
That's annoying.
Alright. Let's review where we are. So, I'm going to look over all of my notes. You can entertain people or what have you.
So we saw the head coroner, right?
We did not.
Or did we just skip that because the criminologist gave us a bunch of information?
Yep.
We can still do that, I guess.
Well, there were those other cases that were mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
The Royal Italian Circus and the Dead Handsome. Still haven't figured out what the bang was before the scream, or why the plaster from the ceiling was on the floor.
That's true. Plaster from the ceiling on the I mean, she could have fired the gun, but they would have probably mentioned if there was a hole in the ceiling, you know?
I mean, we could try to look up more information about them being heiresses, about the Aberdeen Navigation Company, about their killed parents, but I don't know if that's that helpful. Side note, Loretta was in the carriage when that happened, so maybe that's why she turned out so crazy.
I mean, the thud would make sense. Was he with the carriage again?
Huh? The what?
Explain that with the carriage again?
Their parents, there was terrorists who thought that they were the Lord something or other and killed them. And Loretta, the crazy sister, was in the carriage. She was like 5.
Okay. So I was going to say that, I mean, the thud would make sense if it was her passing out, right? Like when she...
There was
It was Francis.
A bang before the scream. A faint bang and then a scream. So, you think, I mean, she couldn't have,
She wouldn't have fallen and screamed.
And then screamed, yeah. But I don't think investigating the terrorists is that helpful. I don't think investigating the parents or the company is that helpful. There was another guest that was talking with the front desk clerk at the time that she entered. I don't know if he's that helpful.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
We talked with the doctor. We talked with the maid. We didn't talk with the solicitor or the barrister. We didn't talk with her doctor. We talked with the hypnotist. And we can't track down the gambling guy, his thug, or the fence. So, do you want to go to the coroner first?
I guess. I feel like we might need to talk to Sherlock at some point.
So, 38 EC.
And or look at the questions. But we still don't know who did it, so...
Yeah, so we the first question is going to be, who is the murderer? We're going to go, I don't know.
It's true.
The real question is, are we going to figure it out before we go through every single clue? What did I say? 32 EC?
I don't know. I didn't know.
38 EC. Okay.
What up, Barkasay? Barkasay's in the chat.
38 EC.
Holly's been there for a little bit.
At Bart's, Sir Jasper Meeks tells us that Clarendon was shot at very close range with a small caliber pistol. I received the body at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I would judge he had been dead anywhere from 4 to 10 hours.
Well, that is certainly relevant.
Not that narrow a time period. If he'd been done for 4 hours, that would have been a 9. That would have been when she entered.
I thought... Didn't she enter and then 30 seconds later they heard the bang?
Yes, but I mean, he's giving a range of 4 to 10 hours. He's not saying it had to have been dead at exactly 9 o'clock.
Oh, from now?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant...
Well, he meant, I received the body at 1 o'clock.
Oh,
I would judge he had been dead. So,
but it's likely to have been
10 hours. So it certainly could have been the middle of the night. But the other question is, how did somebody kill him in the middle, like shoot him in the middle of the night without anybody hearing the gun go off?
And they could have killed him elsewhere and brought his body in, but that would have been difficult as well, you know?
That's true, because they would have like had to haul him off that trellis.
Yeah.
To be fair, that thug is huge, they claim.
That's true, but I don't know how if you can...
but I don't. That wouldn't explain the 2 glasses of wine, one of which was spilled over him.
I mean, Loretta seems to be the more likely suspect, you know? DJ Beats says you make a good detective.
Except we haven't figured it out yet.
What's up with the ceiling?
I don't know. The ceiling is really getting to
me. I feel like that's super important. It's going to be super important when Sherlock shows us up.
Okay, so the allies you can talk to are the coroner spoke with, the criminologist we spoke with. The police, to be honest, they're going to be like, this is an open shut case.
Yeah. Police suck.
The archivists, which compile old legal and criminal documents. Yeah. There's no history of documents to be useful here. The archives of births, deaths, marriages, and wills. Again, don't see how that is helpful. I'm not saying we aren't visiting these places, because if we literally run out of places, we will be checking them. But we already saw the lawyer. We saw the owner of the Raven and Rat. We didn't talk to the guy who worked for Moriarty. I highly doubt that Moriarty is involved in this.
Yeah.
We didn't speak with the journalist in the London Times, who's an expert in current affairs and foreign affairs.
Yeah.
We spoke with the police reporter. We didn't speak with Mycroft Holmes because the government is not involved here.
Yeah.
We could speak with a society columnist.
Yeah, I mean, that makes some sense at least.
I mean, the society, it's these people who are getting robbed to begin with, so.
That's true.
Technically, the Nolans are part of society, so. We also could speak with the cabbies to see if they picked up anybody running away from the scene of the crime or anywhere abouts.
That's probably not a bad one.
I don't know if we have any encyclopedic research. Otherwise, we could go to the library. So, let's start with the society columnist.
Can we sit and think a minute about the ceiling specs?
Okay.
I'm trying to think of any possible explanation for like stuff to have been knocked off the ceiling. Like they were carrying something tall. I can't, scrape stuff off the ceiling. I feel like if
I was thinking something happened on the roof.
Well, they weren't on the top floor. They were on like the second floor.
They were on the second floor. Does it say how tall this building is?
He had originally been on the third floor, so
clearly it was taller. Well, something could have happened on the third floor above him then.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's a stretch.
I mean, I feel like they would have said if there was a bullet hole in the ceiling that knocked it off.
Yes.
I can't think of a single reason that would be.
I got nothing. I am stumped.
All right, so where are we going next?
We're going to the society reporter.
All right.
Society columnist, who admittedly might not have anything for us, but
we suck at this game, you guys. We're sorry.
To Southwest. Hey, we aren't even close to 30 leads yet, so.
Is that what we did last time?
I think that's what we did like the first time. The last time we did literally every lead of the book. All right, to South. Oh, I didn't write down the last one we went to, the coroner.
Why on earth would flecks of the ceiling have come down? Are we sure it was from the ceiling?
No, it just said it was flecks of yellow plaster and that the ceiling was made of yellow plaster. And the walls were covered in wallpaper.
I see. All right. That seems logical.
All right. 25W. I already forgot.
What about 22EC? Oh.
2 southwest. Oh, I've done this before. I've done this like 17 other times, actually. Thinking that, well, then it would be 25 west. Whatever. 2 southwest. That's southeast. Our hope to sidle into the Society's Club in Corner Langdale Pike alone is a vain one. Luck, however, for Pike is expounding upon luck is with us, however, for Pike is expounding upon the very subject in which we are interested. We take our place on the fringe of the group gathered about him and listen. Alas, dear friends, the terrible twins are no more. Poor Guy Clarendon, cut off in his mischievous prime. Poor Loretta Nolan, she must be desolate. The loss of a kindred spirit who would willingly pour champagne down the front of Lady Leeds' new Paris gown solely for her amusement must be a burden more difficult to bear than the loss of a lover. I thought they were lovers, says someone in the crowd. Dear me, no. Outwardly they did make an excellent couple. He, tall, handsome, from a moneyed family. She, beautiful, an heiress in her own right. It could have been a match made in heaven. It was, however, a match made in more infernal regions. They were the brothers Grimm, not Romeo and Juliet. Then could Frances Nolan's claim that she and Clarendon be lovers be true? It is hard to credit, isn't it? But I believe she claimed they were in love, not lovers. There is a vast difference, and in that difference lies the rub. Guy Clarendon had been all but disowned by his father, a father who had grown tired of hushing the scandals and paying the gambling debts. Loretta Nolan had managed to fritter away a considerable fortune in 3 short years. How were the terrible twins to proceed with extravagant merrymaking when they were so out of pocket? He suddenly breaks into peals of laughter. You surely remember the 200 cabs filled with 200 beggars they sent to the Richmond May Day soiree a year ago. The congestion and confusion were so great that none of the real guests could gain entrance before midnight. Delicious. But such elaborate pranks cost a pretty penny, and I'm afraid Guy and Loretta were fresh out of pennies, pretty or otherwise. Enter Sister Frances, a sweet lady. Excuse me. By all accounts, but dull of feature, dull of form, and, for Clarendon's and Loretta's purposes, dull of wit. However, her inheritance was still quite intact, and that was the real target of Clarendon's affections. As the conversation shifts to the society burglar, centering more on the foibles of the victims than anything else, we leave.
Barker said that the dog did it. He gave it the dog the kind of food that makes its own gravy, but he didn't pour the cup of water in it. DJ Beat says, I did it. They should put me in cuffs.
Alright, so that was a society columnist. I don't think we actually learned anything from that.
Other than, like, the inheritance was there. But, I mean, it could have been Loretta all the way around, so she could get all the inheritance from her sister.
Instead of him marrying into it and then taking it for himself.
Yeah.
Could be. Okay, so we have the cabbies.
I mean, they did say a thing with all the cabbies. Hey, Chrono, what's up? You're coming into the boring part of us being stuck and not being able to solve this mystery.
Perhaps the chat can catch them up with what's going on. All right, 5WC.
DJ Beats, explain what's going on to the best of your understanding.
At the Central Carriage Stables, we inquire after a cabbie found stabbed to death a few nights before. I've never seen anything like the like, says an old duffer, shaking his head. Kenny was a right now fellow, but kept to him pretty much himself, he did. What was his name? Kenward Aulick. What area did he work? Oh, down around the tower mostly. George Street, East Sheep, down there. So, they're not talking about our case. They're talking about one
of those mini cases that was in the beginning.
They're talking about the dead handsome who was found with a pouch of 30 Roman coins around his neck. Out of curiosity, around the tower, they said, I'm curious to see if there's anything else around here that could be of interest to us. Time to find the tower. So it was in the south, right?
Yeah, I think so. Had crappy internet lately. That sucks. We were stuck in Hurricane Sandy, and our water went out, but our power did not. And it got a little gross, but at least we had something to do.
This is true. Where the heck?
Got a nice little contingent going on in the chat here today. Welcome, people.
I feel like the Tower of London should be easy to find. But then I'd be wrong.
Anyway, while Stephanie's looking this up, so the mystery is man was found dead in his hotel room.
It says in the directory. You want to give it to me?
Oh, sure. Woman was arrested in his room with a gun in her hand, and her acquaintance convinced us as Sherlock Holmes's friends to investigate it. We think that this guy is the society burglar, having stolen a bunch of jewels, and the accused's sister was in cahoots with him.
Pretty much all signs point to that, right?
Yeah.
That he's the burglar at the very least.
Yeah, we're pretty sure on that one.
The heck, isn't there like a...
The burglar guy had a bunch of gambling debts, but he seems to have paid them off, so that doesn't make a ton of sense.
But we still don't know what happened to the money from his last burglary.
Oh yeah, he stole a very expensive
maybe not the
tiara,
money, but what happened to the
it.
tiara. We should probably talk to the victims of that at some point.
Alright, you want to do that?
You want to do that now instead of trying to figure out where the Tower of London is?
Yeah.
Leeds.
Leeds. Let me look it up.
What street did they say?
And now we're like totally lost.
We still got a couple more
Leeds?
leads, yes.
Sir Sanford Leeds, right? 30 Southwest. Well, at least DJ is as confused as we are.
Alright. Sir Sanford Leeds expresses his hope that his wife's tiara will soon be recovered. It is a valuable piece, to be sure, but more than that, my wife has been under a doctor's care since its theft, and just yesterday took up a room at St. George's Hospital. She's even more overwrought than when young Clarendon poured champagne down the bodice of her Paris original at the Richmond's party on the 20th past.
Oh, jerk.
Which, come to think of it, was the last time she wore the tiara.
Oh, interesting.
Where was the tiara kept? In the bottom of the bureau, under some of my wife's more frilly garments. Were there signs of extensive search? Drawers left open, that sort of thing? No, the burglar knew right where to look, it seems. You were not at home, correct? That's correct. My first night out since the Richmond's party. Down with Le Grip, what? I don't think I read that correctly, but sure. Still not in top form, but couldn't miss the old regiment's annual wingding. Thank you, Sir Sanford. We wish Lady Leeds a speedy recovery. Recover the tiara and she'll come right around. Do you think we can go to speak to her? Like...
It's possible. What is that party?
Which party? The Richmond's party?
Yeah. Because that sounds like where he noticed the tiara.
Yes, it does sound like that.
Like Richmond, like a person?
I think so. It says, since the Richmond's party.
Otis Richmond, 39 Southwest?
On the 20th past, so June 20th? Or not. Yeah, June 20th?
And then it was stolen on July 1st.
What did you say? Otis Richmond, what?
I think it's at 30 Southwest, but let me double check.
That's where we just were.
39 Southwest.
Otis Richmond is a round little man possessed of boundless energy and goodwill. He does not seem at all put out about being victimized by the society burglar. Hey, newspaper man, get on this.
It's too many names.
His tremendous wealth may have something to do with that.
Yeah,
A mere trinket, a bauble. I replaced it for my wife the next day. Now, I do feel for some of the others, however, the sentimental value and all. In answer to our questions, he tells us he was out on the evening of the theft and nothing was disturbed but the jewelry box lying right on top of the dressing table. Are there other victims we should talk to?
I mean, there's a bunch of them, but
yeah.
You want to go see all of them?
It's a possibility. I'll write it down as something to consider.
What names?
Not yet.
All right.
So, should we talk with all of our allies, with the exception of Holmes, who at this point is probably not going to tell us anything we didn't already know?
You want to go see Holmes and see what he'll say?
I don't want to. I want to. Fine.
Let's just do it.
Fine. 42 Northwest. Also known as 221 Baker.
221B.
Yeah. You know, it's not a real place, right?
You know I don't care, right? Gotta get the B in there.
221B. Doesn't B usually stand for basement?
I would think
Although they always have to go upstairs to his place, so it doesn't really make a lot of
I
sense.
really want to watch some BBC Sherlock now. We're a season behind.
Nothing seems to be able to pull Holmes out of the melancholic mood in which he was when we left. I have much to do before nightfall, Wiggins. I won't be able to spare you much time. The first thing to do is verify Miss Frances Nolan's version of the facts. Mr. Locke's attitude clearly involves jealousy towards Clarendon. If Miss Nolan is in love with Clarendon, it seems completely absurd for her to kill him. If she didn't pull the trigger, then who did? And an examination of the crime scene should surely give you clues. Don't hesitate to make a sketch of the scene. It often helps in thinking. And of course, there's the question of the motive. Who would want to eliminate Clarendon and Francis at the same time? As it's, of course, the death sentence that awaits Miss Nolan for her so-called crime. It's all I can give you for leads at the moment, gentlemen. Now, I'll have to let you go, as urgent business awaits me.
I mean the sister's the one who wants them both dead. Like, if she's got the tiara...
We already kind of suspected that it was her, but we still can't prove anything. If she has the tiara, then that means that she was in on the...
I mean, it's, my guess at this point is that she would chat up the ladies and find out where they keep their shit, and then he would sneak in and steal it, you know?
We've already been to her place, so we can't, go back there and look for the tiara.
No. But, I mean, that's what makes the most sense, is that, how else is he finding all, they go to a party, she goes, oh, they're at this party, and then he sneaks in, right?
Yeah. I want to take a look up the newspapers to see if there might be something else we're missing.
All right. I'll continue to look at these ones. Super interesting Twitch TV.
Well, you can talk to the chat if you prefer.
So what's up, chat? What other questions do you have about our terrible sleuthing skills?
If you guys think we're missing anything, feel free to tell us.
But if you play it before, no.
Yeah.
Don't give it away. That's no fun. But yeah, that's basically what we know. There's a bunch of these other weird cases, like the cabbie who was stabbed, and we don't think those are related. But yeah, it's annoying to try to get to the maybe there's something about how to get to Kilgore. Kilgore?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
In one of these personal ads. But yeah, so that's the story we're on so far. What's the Arkham version of this game called?
Arkham Investigator.
So if anyone's really interested in this game and you don't want to pay money or go looking for this game, which is hard to find, someone made a similar game called Arkham Investigator, which is a H.P. Lovecraft theme kind of version.
I think there are 2 cases available for that right now.
That's cool.
We haven't played it yet.
Did you see the new Star Wars trailer? I have not. We've sort of intentionally stayed away from the Star Wars stuff. I heard there was some crazy stuff, just because I don't want to spoil too much. If I go down that, I think both of us, if we go down that rabbit hole, we will end up just looking at everything, you know?
It's J.J. Abrams, so he's going to try to hide as much as he can.
Yeah. We're planning on going to see Furious 7 this weekend. So, I assume we'll see something then.
Hey, this sounds like a good deal. 2 million acres in Florida lands, all varieties, bargain. Off the Gulf of Mexico.
Maybe we can do that then. Was there anything particularly interesting in the new Star Wars trailer? I know we're supposed to be super nerdy, we're supposed to talk about that, but... I don't want to watch it on my computer. I don't know. There's something.
What movies is it playing in front of?
Probably all of them at this point.
So we might be seeing it at some point in the theater. Revolving bed table. Chub locks.
Those chub locks are good.
Cards.
For some reason, I thought I heard people were upset or disappointed by the trailer. How did you feel about it, Chrono? Dr. Sar's magical elixir. Cures colds, coughs, throat ailments of all types.
We can check out this cricket supplier.
Well, that's the thing we could do. You want to just go talk to all the victims of the burglary? I saw Fury 7. It was pretty awesome.
We're going to see that this weekend.
So, yeah, we missed that. So where do you rank it in the Fast and Furious movies?
So you're not seeing anything in there?
I have not found anything.
Darn it, I was really hoping there was like some sort of code or something to get to the gambling parlor.
Yeah, right?
I bet it was Moriarty. How else could it just be so crazy? Starting to get the feeling that once we find out what the answer is, it's going to be like, oh, how do we miss that?
You want to look at the questions?
No. Let's talk to the victims first.
Okay.
So.
It says cool stuff in it. Had some cool stuff in it. And had some familiar characters.
All right. So Judd is the first one.
Judd.
Yep.
Judd. All right. So Fury 7. Worth seeing. Excellent. Judd N. 24 Southwest. So now we're going to look at all the victims of the society burglaries and see if we get any information now.
Okay. Nancy Judd is an attractive widow in her mid-30s. I forgot to write this down. At least
it's about equal with Fast 5.
At least until we get tired of this.
Fast 5 is the best one, so that's interesting.
I was just starting to come out again into the world after my husband's death, and now this happens. She goes on to tell us the pendant stolen from her is very old, a family heirloom. It belonged to my great-great-grandmother, and it's been passed down to me. I hoped to give it to my daughter. We find out Mrs. Judd was out the evening of the theft, and even though she keeps it in the toe of an old shoe, the burglar knew right where to look for it.
Weird.
Yeah, right?
Why would you tell someone that? My original thought was that she told Loretta where it was, but... Anyway, I'm going to go to the next one.
I feel like... I guess we might as well. But I'm like, this isn't really going to tell us anything, is it?
I don't know.
We could talk to the police.
Sure, let's talk to the police.
They can... I could use a good yelling at.
Chrono said it was tied with Fast 5 as his favorite. That is exciting. How did The Rock and Ronda Rousey do? Because Gina Carano was awesome in the previous one, so I have high hopes.
Alright. As is often the case, agitation reigns in the offices of Scotland Yard. While trying to avoid Agent Pierce, who was running down the corridor, we're literally pushed into the office of a certain Inspector Herberts. Totally, Monsieur Kilgore, you must... Kilgore! You must... One moment. Excuse me, sirs, what's going on? Come on, get out. Don't you see I'm on the phone? Confused, we apologize and exit the office. We quickly head to the office of Inspector Lestrade. It is a useless inquiry, says a harried Inspector Lestrade. Look, Frances Nolan claims not to have known that Clarendon was residing at Halliday's, yet she proceeded directly to his room. She fired a shot from a Derringer, for which she has a receipt from S. Goff in her name In the room where Clarendon was found dead, shot with a small caliber pistol. No, the lady is unquestionably guilty. Alright, so we've got a few more things now. Well, we got one thing. We can check out the... Esgoff. Also, we should talk to her lawyer.
That's probably good. Alright, guns, right? Because there's like 8 gunsmiths in town. 28 WC. Don't want to spoil anything, but everyone kicks butt in it. Awesome. Is there anything as awesome as dragging the safe through Rio?
28 WC?
I believe so, yes.
Can you check that?
Esgoff 28 WC.
Okay, it's not a thing.
What the heck? Why wouldn't that be in there?
Let's talk to her. So we've got her solicitor and we've got her lawyer. So the solicitor is Hiram Davenport.
You look that up?
Yes.
Are you going to his house or do you want to go to the barristery place? Isn't there a barrister office or something?
No. This is just a specific lawyer. We already talked to him. It's not her actual solicitor.
Davenport, you say?
Yes. It might send us to the home and then we have to go to his office. I don't know.
Hiram Davenport?
Yes.
1 Northwest.
Housekeeper enforces. He's at his office. I need the office location.
Well, what would that be? I don't know. I don't what would I look at that? Look under barrister? No. Barrister. I stand corrected.
But he's not a barrister. He's a solicitor. Solicitors. 13 WC.
You got me excited for Furious 7 now.
After waiting nearly 2 hours, we are finally shown into Hiram Davenport's office. What?
He's busy.
He apologizes for the delay with somewhat suspect sincerity, and we take our seats and ask her questions. Yes, I am Frances's solicitor, and Loretta's too, although I'm less help in that direction since she came of age. You handled their father's estate? That's correct. Their father left them equal shares in his 1/3 share of the Aberdeen Navigation Company. I administered that bequest in the form of a trust fund until each girl came of age. Since then, I've tried my best to advise them. With 1/6 share of the Aberdeen Navigation Company, they must be very wealthy. Frances is, to be sure, but Loretta saw fit, much against my advice, I might add, to liquidate her stock. I'm afraid her financial situation is not at all what it could be. Do you recall a meeting with Miss Frances last month when she blacked out? He looks puzzled for a moment, then offers, well, I did meet with both Miss Frances and Miss Loretta last month, and Miss Frances did leave unexpectedly. I thought it was odd at the time, but she did not black out as such. Would you describe the meeting? We were in the middle of our discussion when I was called away on important business. I begged their indulgence and stepped out of the office. I was gone, 20 minutes. When I got back, Miss Frances had a very strange look in her eyes, said thank you very much, nice to see you again, or something to that effect, and left. Miss Loretta laughed that very disturbing laugh of hers and left also. Thank you.
So, the time she was meeting with her solicitor, which we thought was alone, was also with Loretta.
Yes.
So Loretta totally drugged her.
So it's totally Loretta. She's drugging her. She's hypnotizing her. But did she get her to kill?
No, she said you wouldn't do that. You would pass out. The hypnotist said you would pass out before you would do anything against your morals.
It's possible that she did do something against her morals and then passed out.
It's possible, but I don't know.
Especially if she's drugged.
I don't know. They said it was a muffled bang, so I don't think so.
Maybe it has a silencer. Is that a thing back then?
I don't think so. It probably would have been mentioned.
Okay, so that was the solicitor. We can talk to the lawyer.
Yep, the barrister.
So the barrister is Wilford Robarts.
37 WC. Yeah, that's a surprising number of people in the stream here.
Physically, Wilfred Robarts is anything but impressive. He has jowly cheeks that give him a hangdog expression, a large bulbous nose, and a thinning scalp. He looks His looks far exceed his age, which we are surprised to learn is but 28. Yet he has a vigorous manner and a degree of intensity that is very compelling. I have met with Miss Francis, and she wishes me to take the case. I, however, am reserved judgment until I can speak to her in a room with some sunlight. As he speaks this last, he taps the monocle in the palm of his hand. Then we shall see. What would lie your defense? Oh, have no fear. If I take the case, I will think of something. We have no doubt he will. Oh, okay, that's not helpful.
He's a terrible lawyer.
So we still
don't know if the sister killed her or Francis did.
Yeah.
We don't know who has the tiara. We assume it's Loretta.
Do you think the locations that she woke up are important?
Possibly. Go see if anyone knows anything about it.
Let's see. She's the 36 EC.
Do you think it's possible that they were hiding the tiara like in a light fixture and that's why there's shit on the ground?
Oh, that is possible. Now that you mention it.
Brains. So what I did there?
But we still don't know if she was in on it. But we do know that the other guys were in on it.
What other guys?
The gambler and the feds that we can't figure out how to find.
Can we go back to reread the one where we talked to the CI?
Sure. Hold on a second because I'm back. I'm back reading her story. So the first time she blacked out, she woke up on a bench in Hyde Park. The last thing I remember was having lunch with my sister.
So that doesn't sound relevant. Hyde Park is 95 Northwest.
My question was, can we see like what other locations might have been around Northwest or around Hyde Park, like maybe the gun shop?
Oh yeah, Esgoff was 28 WC.
The other one she said when she met with the solicitor was that she woke up at Liverpool Street Station.
Police stations? No. Train stations, maybe? Stations, Liverpool Street is 9 EC, East Central.
Okay, so that does not jive with my theory at all.
Yeah, like one time she got a gun and one time she did something else.
Yeah. Okay, so the dude.
The criminal investigator.
He's on the same page, I think, because I think he's like the last one. Yes.
You got it?
What did you want to know?
It's all the information about the Kilgore people, and was there any way we would have of actually finding them that we're missing?
Okay, they're usually on their way to Kilgore's gaming parlor or coming back from it. What is it? It's a nice little place down in the southeast, frequented by swells and toffs. The coppers have been trying to close it down for years, but Kilgore knows when they come within 3 blocks. So this is 52 EC that we're talking to him?
Mm-hmm. Which is here.
52 EC.
Oh, EC. Easy.
Why the hell are they coming or going to that place from down here? That's just weird. Okay. It says it's down in the southeast, frequented by swells and toffs. I don't know if that's helpful at all because I have no idea what those words are supposed to be. But I kind of doubt it. Okay. Clarendon was into Kilgore for a sizable sum, 7,000 pounds. Got to the point Kilgore wouldn't allow him to take his place. Clarendon didn't take too kindly, almost caused a row until Kilgore's right-hand man, Gus Bullock, stepped in. Clarendon backed down. I don't blame him none. Gus is a mean character, so we already know that Gus beat him up. So Kilgore made it clear he expected money and there are bad feelings around. Then a month or so later, Clarendon shows up all smiles. He and Kilgore getting on like brothers. Figured Clarendon must have paid him back. Then Calvin Leach steps into the picture. He deals in stolen property. Now, he doesn't usually associate with the likes of Claude Kilgore, but there it is. Leach, Kilgore, and Clarendon meeting late at night, just thick as fog. The meetings continue on right up until the night before Clarendon's death.
We tried to go see both Leach and Kilgore.
We saw Kilgore, and he basically was like, I have nothing to tell you. Leach was not in the book, in the directory.
It said they can tell whenever you're within 3 blocks of the of that, which probably means he has like a lookout or something. Like, this is the police station here, but it doesn't tell me anything. Like, it's not giving me enough information.
Yeah, because you're not going to go looking at all those locations.
Yeah.
I
bet there's something we're missing in the newspaper about how
gotta be something we're missing in the newspaper.
How to find Kilgore's.
I think we should investigate the other crimes.
Sure.
Because, at the very least,
It's something I haven't done.
it's something to do. It probably will help with the bonus questions.
Okay, so what do you got?
Okay. So, Royal Italian Circus tightrope walker fell to his death and foul play was suspected. Would you like to go check out the circus?
Sure. Here, take this. I think there's an entertainment section. Royal Italian Circus, commonly the finest equestrian entertainment ever seen in London. Daring trapeze artist, Hercules, daily at 3 and 8, admission from ones. Admission from eyes? I don't like. I want to tell me where it is.
There's a theater section.
Yeah, well, let me see.
It's not there.
What are the names of the theaters?
Allegro, Apollo, Covent Garden, Drury Lane, Elephant and Castle, Haymarket, Lyceum, Olympia, Princess, Royalty.
Is there any of those here?
What? Why? Auction houses, banks, barristers, baths, boarding houses, booksellers, carpets, charities, chemists, churches, cocoa manufacturers, coroner's office, cycles, dentists, department stores, detective agencies, doctors, embassies, furriers, government offices, guides, gunsmiths, hospitals, hotels, inns of court, insurance companies, jewelers, libraries, map sellers, music halls, newspapers, parks, pawnbrokers, police stations, post offices, printers, public houses, restaurants, settlement houses, shoemakers, solicitors. Somerset House. Public houses, stables, stationers, stations, steamship companies.
You know what pub is short for? Public house?
I presume so? I'm not sure. I mean, this appears to be more like clubs. But maybe. Synagogues, tailors, tea merchants, tea rooms, theaters, tobacconists, watchmakers, wine merchants. I mean, I guess we could go check out all of the theaters to see what has a listing, but it's so weird that, like...
It's in the newspaper?
It's in the newspaper, but it doesn't mention the location.
Because in all these other ones, it meant like it mentions the theater name, like it.
Well, Chinese artist is Hercule Lemouche. So there's that. We could visit the Italian embassy.
Sure, why not?
We could try to anyway.
I'm getting a little frustrated just seeing that stuff. I'm like look at the answer frustrated.
Well, do you want to go to the other
I don't know.
Case?
We kind of sure.
Where's the embassies? There is no Italian embassy. All right, on to the other case. Dead Handsome. We got some information. I didn't bother writing it down from the cabbies. So let's see. 5WC was the cabbies, and they said Kenward Olick, who worked around the tower, George Street, East Sheep, down there. And I was looking for the tower and couldn't find it. Let's see. Olick. 15 SE. We should at least read the questions before we just give up and go straight to the answer.
Sure, I'm done with that too.
We find Kenward Olick's widow doing laundry. She's a hard-faced woman who looks older than her years. She refuses to talk to us, nor will her neighbors.
Let me roll the bathroom you with the Tower of London there.
Deal. Maybe, I know, it's true. Feels a little bit like, where is Waldo? Trying to find these streets. Oh, right. I go to start looking at a map of the real Tower of London, and then I was reminded to myself that the Tower of London is on the Thames, and just look at the Thames.
What I missed?
I realized the Tower of London is on the Thames, so I should just look across the Thames. Found it. It's right there. He worked in this neighborhood, which is right next to the Royal Mint. Seems interesting to me. I don't think the Royal Mint's going to be in here, but hey, why not check it out? 13 easy.
Sure.
Since I'm grasping at straws anyway.
So many straws, so little time. Yeah, no.
Alright, let's look at the questions.
Okay. So theoretically, for those people who weren't listening before, there are questions at the back. We don't know what they are at the beginning, so you only go look at, try to answer them when you think you know everything.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Part 1. Who killed Guy Clarendon?
It's totally Loretta.
Why was he murdered?
For the tiara.
You think it was for the tiara?
No.
I'm still thinking it was to stop him from marrying the sister and getting all the money himself.
Oh, that's possible too.
But so we already don't know the answer to number 2.
Yeah.
Why did Frances Nolan go to the Halliday Hotel?
She was hypnotized.
Who is a society burglar?
Guy.
Who is Calvin Leach?
He's the fence.
Yes. All right. Not too shabby on part 1.
Close on that.
Part 2. Who killed Klaus Wallentin and how?
Which one was Klaus Wallentin?
No idea.
I don't know where that is.
2. What neighborhood did Kenward Workaholic work in?
This neighborhood.
The Tower London East Central neighborhood?
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably not the right answer, but... How did Kilgore manage to evade the police vigilance? He had a police informer.
Yes.
Who was talking to him we heard him talking to him at the police station.
Yes, that's right.
So we got...
Almost all of them.
We got pretty close.
We just look at the answers?
Who is Klaus Wallenstein? I think
that has something to do with the acrobat, but
clearly. All right, let's see if Wallenstein's in the directory. This is why you're not supposed to read the questions.
Yeah, because it like gives you information that you don't have. So it's
Wallenstein
kind
is
of a guessing
not
game.
in the directory. Give yourself 5 more minutes to try to figure out the answer to the Klaus Wallenstein question, and if we can't, we'll just look at the answer.
I think we're in most of it. Yeah, I have no idea how Carmen Albuera with the finest equestrian entertainment ever seen in London.
The fact that it's equestrian has something to do.
Well, I mean, it's got to be like in a park somewhere, right? Like.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
Is there any like equestrian stuff going in the book there? That's not going to be on a stage, you know. Emission from eyes. Emissions from eye. What does that mean? Or from 1, maybe. Oh, like 1 o'clock. Daily at 3 and 8. Admission from eyes. What does that mean?
Wait, what does it say?
Admission from eyes.
Haven't a clue. No idea. Is that an old-timey thing?
I don't know.
Is it a typo?
There are a lot of typos in this game, which make things difficult.
I don't want to be looking at all of the parks. It says parks. There's listing for parks.
Equestrian stuff.
Archbishops, Buckingham Palace Gardens,
Stables,
Deptford,
maybe?
Green Park, Greenwich Park, Hyde Park, Regent's Park, Southwark Park, St. James Park.
Let's talk about stables.
No. Oh, here's a stable section.
All right.
Central Carriage, Henry Whitlock, J. Offord, Morgan, Rudge, and Singer. These are all like taxi stables.
There's not what I wanted. Are we missing a line in this or something? I'm just so confused. Because like this one says the only J1 in the kingdom. What does it even mean? This doesn't say where it is either. There's no like Royal Italian Circus in the directory, is there?
No. That was like the first thing we looked at.
Royal Italian Circus, 35 Northwest.
What the hell? I just missed it?
Yeah.
I'm 30. I'm sorry. 35. What? Northwest?
Northwest.
I'm sorry. Oh, and this paragraph's huge.
All right, well, you can read it then.
At the Royal Italian Circus, we spy Constable Shook, scratching his head, pondering his notebook. When he sees us, his face brightens. So Mr. Ohms is interested in the case, is he? Without a reply, Shook launches into an explanation of the facts, becoming, before very long, hopelessly entangled. Here now, he stops himself. Let's take you around to the various suspects and see what we see. So saying, he starts off towards a rotund man, telling us that he's the ringmaster, Gregory Shepherd. He ain't a suspect as such, but he's seen it all happen. At the constable's behest, Shepherd explains the accident. It is all inconceivable. Klaus Wallenstein was the best in the world on the tightrope, but last week he was hesitant, tentative, his footing unsure. He went back to the rosin box several times. Then, just as he was walking out for his finale, he balances a chair and 2 legs on the wire and performs a handstand on it. He slipped. The chair was in his hands, and because of it, he missed the wire. Everything should have been fine because of the net, but it gave way as soon as the chair and Klaus hit it. Thank you, Mr. Shepherd, says Constable Shook. When we were out of earshot, he adds, The net didn't just give way, Shepard says. It was rigged with a very tricky knot made to come loose when any weight hit it.
Ooh.
Now let's go talk to Guzini E and Walladin at a row. Oh, let's go talk to Guzini. He and Walladin had a row 2 days before.
Wow.
We are not alarmed when we come across Luigi Guzini throwing knives at his shapely life, for that is his occupation with the circus. We do become slightly alarmed, however, by the look in his eyes when we mention Klaus Walladin's name. I hated the man, I tell you. He's a snake. I didn't kill him, but I wish I had. As we hurry away, Shook explains that Guzini had accused Walladin of showing too much attention to his wife, Serafina. Considering the look of sadness in Serafina's eyes, it may have been true, although Walladin, as we are told, denied it. Another who seems to have believed the accusation is Walladin's fiancée, Carmen Abuera. We meet her as she rehearses with her horse troupe. The 4 horses, abreast of each other, trot around the perimeter of a ring, while Carmen, standing in the center, controls them with a single lead attached to all 4 bridles. With a quick flip of the wrist, the lead detaches itself and the 4 horses split off in 4 directions, ending in front of her rearing. There is no sadness in my heart. He treated me badly with that pig, that cow, that puta. She refuses to say anything more, in English anyway, and we proceed on. We come across Hercule Lemouche, a trapeze artist. He is arguing with the boss roustabout over some point of rigging. Despite Lemouche's insistence of his expertise in rigging, the roustabout goes away unconvinced. Before we speak to him, Shook informs us that Lemouche, who had just joined the troupe, had an argument with Walladin over billing, each disparaging each other's talents and resorting to a vile name-calling match. He was second-rate. Yet I must stand behind him, sacre bleu. Shook tells us as we walk away that all 3, Guzini, Albuera, and Lemouche, were seen watching Walladin that fateful night. Expecting something, do you think? What's that singing? We ask as the sound of a drunken melody reaches us. The words are slurred, and it is difficult to tell if the song is happy or sad, so often does the tempo shift. As we get closer to it, however, it's easy to tell that it is German. That would be Albrecht. A sad case, so told. He used to be even greater than Walladin, invented the chair balancing thing that Walladin used in his act, but used to do it with just one leg on the wire. Somewhere along the line, he began to look at the bottle and can't walk no wire all ginned up like that. A few months back, Walladin hired him as a go-and-fetch sorta. Did odd jobs and the like. Totally off the sauce he was, till the other night. As we peek into the dressing room, we see Hugh, very unsteady on his feet, standing over a tub washing what appears to be Walladin's costumes. With one hand, he pours more soap flakes. With the other, he hoists a bottle of whiskey to his mouth. Yeah. Setting the bottle down on a nearby table, he again commences to sing. Constable Shook goes back over the case once again in complete detail. When he's finished, he looks to us for our opinion. Constable, says Wiggins, I think there is an arrest to be made. So, from that description, we're supposed to know who did it.
Well,
Wiggins knows how to do it.
But the guy who he stole the stuff from, who's like Hercule Lemouche, was the knot tying expert, and the thing was rigged with a special knot that would kill him when he fell.
All right.
So I like that guy, or all of them.
I like it. All right, you want to just look up the answer now? It's getting so late.
All right, yeah. So we got most of it. So we're gonna go to the conclusion here. You want to look at the answer or the Holmes solution?
I just wanted to double check as I look.
Are there any big things we missed?
Just in this one section that we just did.
But
he went back to the rosin box.
Solution?
Last week he was basically tentative, his footing unsure. He went back to the rosin box several times. As he was walking, he slipped. But the rosin is supposed to make you not slip.
Yeah, so someone messed with the rosin.
That's my guess. Somebody messed with the rosin.
And someone did the net.
And yeah, exactly. And we know that the knot was so clearly like multiple people are in on it. So who could have messed with the rosin? We've got the knife thrower because he's messing with his wife. We've got his fiance, who's the horse person. We've got the trapeze artist who does the rigging, who we think tied the wrong knot. And then we have his go and fetch, who is washing his costumes. But he does have soap flakes. So sure. Soap and rosin wouldn't go together very well.
Yeah, he could have Soaked it up.
Just because he happens to be doing laundry at the time, I will accuse him.
Deal.
And the other guy. 2 arrests. Which I don't think is the answer. Okay. Solution. So we will be able to answer the first 5 questions with the solution, which is who killed Guy Clarendon? Why was he murdered? Why did Francis Nolan go to the Halliday Hotel? And who was the society burglar? And who is Calvin Leach? For the reference, we went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 leads before I stopped counting because we're
just grasping at straws.
We just started to look at the other cases.
So 28 total, maybe.
Holmes has solved this case by following 5 leads.
Let's hear his solution, and then we'll...
Deal. We are at 221B trying to sort out a solution when Holmes enters the apartment. His appearance is startling. His cap is gone, his trousers are spattered with mud, and his jacket is ripped. Even more disturbing is the stark look of defeat in his eyes. Without a word, he shovels over to the basin to splash his grimy face with water. Holmes, says Watson softly, we're having a devil of a time with this case. Could you help us? Holmes stiffens and after a moment lets out a long sigh. As he turns back to us, his features soften until a faint trace of a smile plays at the corners of his mouth. Of course, Watson, he says, matching Watson's subdued tone. How can I be of service to you? For the next 20 minutes, Watson acquaints Holmes with the facts of Guy Clarendon's murder by taking him on a verbal tour of our visits around the city. When Watson is finished, Holmes takes the floor. Excellent, Watson. You have managed to solve 2 cases for Scotland Yard, though I doubt Lestrade will consider himself in your debt. I have? Yes, indeed. Clarendon is £7,000 in debt to the gambler Kilgore. Unfortunately, he is out of pocket and in his father's bad graces. Kilgore's confederate, the dangerous Gus Bullock, is seen hanging about the Clarendon home, and the younger Clarendon is roughed up. To solve his problem, Clarendon turns to burglary. His victims are to be members of his own clans, whose social comings and goings he knows well, and whose homes he's visited. He acquires a black sweater and black trousers, ties a pair of canvas fencing shoes, and decides he needs a base of operations. It may well have been Bullock's lurking presence that spawned his desire to secret himself away. In any case, he chooses Halliday's. Clarendon arrives at Halliday's and takes a day to look the place over. Significantly, he switches rooms to one in the back of the hotel with a vine-covered trellis conveniently leading to the bedroom window. Now, on the 1st of June, Bullock, having discovered Clarendon's elegant hideaway, confronts him in the lobby. The £5,000 given to him by his father is withdrawn and makes its way to Kilgore against the debt. That evening, the society burglar strikes for the first time. Clarendon, Kilgore, and Calvin Leach, a known trafficker in stolen goods, are seen in company. Notice, if you will, that 1/2 of the value of the first 3 society thefts amounts to £2,000, 1/2 the value being the price normally paid by Leach for stolen goods, and equals the balance of Clarendon's debt to Kilgore. Debt-free, Clarendon is now in a positive to make money on his own as his succeeding bank transactions evidence. On the day after each of the next 3 burglaries, Clarendon makes deposits. The pattern of the burglaries is obvious. Clarendon would pick his target, select the night, contact Leach. That evening, he would enter Halliday's well before 10 o'clock in order to establish his alibi, change into his working clothes, and exit down the trellis. The burglary accomplished, he would return, change again, and meet with Leach. The next day, he would deposit his take. The pattern was interrupted the night of July the 1st, the night of the theft of the Cleopatra tiara. So far,
we got all that.
All right. Loretta Nolan, a longtime accomplice of Clarendon in various nefarious misdeeds, was aware of the burglaries and quite possibly took part in them. Her recognizable laugh revealed her presence at the Halliday. A short time after the 5th burglary, 2 thefts were planned. One thought up by Clarendon concerned the thefts of Cleopatra's tiara. The other was planned by Dr. Trevelyan. We did not get that.
No.
Not at all. Indeed, the good doctor, who had been taking care of Loretta for years through hypnosis, has also learned of the dark behavior of Clarendon during a seance with his patient.
Okay.
Wow, we got this, so totally wrong. He saw it as a chance to get rid of a bothersome rival who risks getting his hands on Francis's fortune, which he also wants for himself.
How were we supposed to get that?
I haven't a clue. We'll see his solution, the order that leads to the end. On the night of July 1st, he entered Clarendon's bedroom by the trellis, armed with a derringer, and awaited his return. Clarendon came back from his night work, and while he was pouring himself a glass of wine to celebrate the event, Trevelyan killed him and used the occasion to take the loot from the last theft, Cleopatra's tiara. During that night, he then went to visit Frances. Knowing perfectly the technique, and thanks to the drugs he administered to her under the pretense of giving her a sedative, he hypnotized her. He ordered her to go into Clarendon's bedroom with a Derringer and fire it into the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
When Clarendon
Why
removed...
didn't they say there was a bullet hole in the ceiling?
I'm sorry.
Like, we discussed this.
We did discuss this, yeah. But with Clarendon removed and Frances getting a death sentence, the fortune of the latter was naturally destined to Loretta. It had been child's play for Trevelyan to profit from the mental weakness of Loretta to bilk her out of money, and even more so since Clarendon was no longer there to push her into costly extravagances. If you would please let Lestrade know, I'm sure you'll find Dr. Trevelyan is still in possession of Cleopatra's tiara. Holmes sighs deeply and appears suddenly weary. The spark of energy and interest ignited by Watson's plea for help is all but extinguished. He sits a moment in silence looking down at his own tattered appearance. No doubt his failure to solve the cabbie's murder preys upon his mind. Finally, he starts towards the room, mumbling, I believe I will clean up now. At the doorway, he stops and whispers, Watson, the needle. Okay. So, he visited Halliday's Hotel.
Saw the crime scene.
Old Bailey Criminal Court.
We talked to the accused.
Dr. Trevelyan.
Who we talked to, but was
We did talk to.
Seemed weird.
Hiram Davenport's office. Who we also spoke with.
Who was Davenport?
That was the barrister.
Okay.
Or not the barrister, the solicitor, I meant.
Oh, yeah.
And Porky Shinwell. Who we also spoke with. So we actually visited all of the clues.
And we got more. The thing is, so there were two things from this that were kind of weird to me.
He also used the following article from the newspaper. Society burglar climbs to 14,000 pounds.
Yeah, we saw that. So my thing was, it mentioned that there was like stuff on the ground, but it didn't mention that there was a bullet hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, that does seem quite significant. It also seems weird to me that they would describe her firing as a small bang or
a small bump,
or it was like a soft bang or something like that.
Maybe they're saying that it's because it was from downstairs. It didn't sound loud, but I don't know. It seemed like there was a bunch of things that indicated...
A faint bang before you scream, which to me does not equate with shooting a gun.
Yeah, so that seemed incredibly misleading.
So we did not get the killer. We didn't get the why he was murdered. Like we knew it was for the money. We knew it was for Frances's money. But we didn't realize that it was also for Loretta's money, I guess. We do know that Frances went to the Holiday Hotel because she was hypnotized. Yep. We do know the Society burglar is Guy Clarendon, and we do know that Callan Leach was the fence. So technically, we got 60 points. Minus a million. Okay, part 2. Who killed Klaus Wallentin and how? Well, we thought that they
put soap plates in the rosin and had the weird...
Yeah, so we didn't actually, yes, apparently it was one person that we were supposed to pick, and we didn't really pick one person, so I don't think we can claim that we actually got that.
What did they say that...
Albert Hugh substituted soap plates for rosin in the box.
But he wouldn't have died if the net hadn't been done.
I know. So and the only reason that I picked him was because he was literally doing laundry at the time we were talking to him. And thus had soap. I find that one suspect. Okay. In what neighborhood did he work in? In the Tower of London neighborhood.
Right.
Well, we knew that one, so we got 5 points. Yippee. How did Kilgore manage to evade police vigilance? Inspector Herberts from Scotland Yard warned him of the police raids. We found that one, too.
Yep.
So, 10 points. So, that gives us a total of 75. But then...
Minus 5 for each one that we did more than Holmes.
Yeah. So, I think we did, 20-ish? 25-ish?
How many do you have listed?
I don't remember. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 30-ish? 28-ish? 28.
So 23 more than Holmes.
And we are supposed to subtract...
So we're in negative points.
5 points, yeah. So we're in negatives. Woo! Go us! Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Do you want to reread the doctor one to see what the heck it was
Sure.
talking about? Because I did not get any of that.
There's got to be something in there that we just totally overlooked. All right. Dr. Trevelyan is an athletic-looking man, and everything about him, his movements and gestures, is very precise. His eyes are piercing and vivacious and seem to read the depths of your soul. Is ever so slightly disturbing. He drops himself into the chair behind his desk, fiddles with his pocket watch, asks how he can help us. I understand you dined with Frances Nolan on the evening of July 1st. Yes, that is correct. We dine every Sunday. Her sister Loretta had been under my care for some 10 years, first at the Mesmer Braid Institute and then in private practice. Is that mesmer, like, mesmerizing?
Oh, maybe.
So maybe that was a clue that he's also a hypnotist?
Possible. All right, sure. We'll allow it.
Sure. I meet with Miss Frances weekly to keep her informed of her sister's progress. What began as a purely clinical exercise has ripened into a pleasant evening between friends. Let me say it is difficult to believe Miss Frances committed this deed. She has a quiet, unassuming personality. One might describe her, albeit unkindly, as mousy. An act of such direct confrontation would not be at all in keeping with her character. Are she and her sister close? They lead very different and separate lives. Miss Frances lived a quiet life, while Miss Loretta's is wild, flamboyant. Frances stays at home. Loretta never misses a party. Their individual laughs illustrate their differences. Frances is timid, no more. Loretta's laugh is deep and resounding. For her part, Miss Frances loves and cares for her sister as a parent would a child. Miss Loretta, well, she often seeks refuge with her sister and loves her as much as she's capable of love. Thank you, Doctor. That is it. I call shenanigans on this one.
I also call shenanigans. You still have fun?
Oh, I still had fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Cool.
But that is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Do you have anything else to say about it or the case?
I don't. I'm very interested in the fact that we still have more than one viewer. I wasn't sure how well this would come across on the stream. So, yeah. If you're interested in solving these cases yourself, I recommend you go out and get a copy of this. It just came out. It was just reprinted after been out of stock for a while. It was originally from like 1980 or something like that. I want to say there was a computer game made of like 3 of the cases in like 1992. So it's been around for a while, but that does not make the cases any easier to solve.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can't really play this one now because
you know everything.
You now know everything.
But you made that choice.
Yeah. Otherwise, I hope it was entertaining to watch us like crash. We started off so well, and then just like horribly crashed and burned.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we got a lot of it, but I feel like the information we were supposed to get like wasn't well presented. Like some of it is just like, I didn't quite get that. Some of it's just like there was no indication of that whatsoever.
I think you're gonna run into that a little bit in this game, and you just gotta kind of take the good with the bad, unfortunately.
It's very cool if they met a game.
And of course, it is Sherlock Holmes, so he can deduce things like 3 levels beyond what actually logically makes sense. Apparently.
Sure. But if you're still watching, you guys should follow us on Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you can follow us on Twitch to catch us next time we're doing something like this, or you can, subscribe on YouTube so you can see other Let's Plays like this or our board game reviews. There's a board game rating site. There's a link below, no matter what you're watching on. Anything else?
No.
All right.
That's it.
Well, then I guess we will see you people later.
Bye.
Bye.